What's going on, fellow A Plusers? It's your boy Adam Perez. We're back once again with another live episode of A Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your movie, television, Marvel, and DC news, streaming live for you guys today. We got 6 incredible topics that we're going to be diving into today. We got Spider-Man Brand New Day on the docket, leading us off as the director is certainly talking a little bit more about it, along with 3 pages of scripts that have in fact been released for you guys. Not spoiling too much, but we're definitely going to get some new details in regards to this movie. We even have Spider-Noir on the docket today, as Lord and Miller is certainly talking about Nicolas Cage in this as well. James Gunn is in the news as he's given us some unfortunate news in regards to the upcoming The Authority movie and a ton more, guys. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and I'll see you guys on the other side. What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. Welcome once again to A-Plus Hero Report, live every Sunday for you guys here today. It is just myself, man, rocking solo dolo. Stuart is getting ready for a big day. He wound up having his bachelor party yesterday. I know he's feeling it today, and he gets married tomorrow. So Stuart is off, if you will, for the next couple of weeks, enjoying the married life, if you will. So everybody give shout outs to Stuart for getting married as of tomorrow on May the 4th of all days. I got to tell you, I saw him on his IG celebrating his bachelor party. My man got a clean cut. He is prepared for his wedding. He's looking good, man. Good luck, Stuart. And we'll definitely see you when you certainly return back here, man. But guys, it's just myself here. So let's just have some fun today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love to bounce ideas and topics and conversation pieces off of you guys. So I'm going to need you guys to be super active in the live chat with us here today. So as we go through some of these topics, I'm really hoping that I'm hearing from you guys, so I can go ahead and pull up some of your live comments today and really have some really great discussions and talk with you guys certainly about it. So hopefully you guys certainly stick with us today. 6 incredible topics, some honorable mentions to kick off the show, and of course wrapping up with your questions. Now I know, listen, I was late to the party. With dropping my live your question post. Shout out to Ram Jam or Peg C in the chat, joining us live, who actually hit me up and was like, bro, where's the post? I need to submit some questions in. So I did literally 2, maybe 3 minutes before I went live. I did go ahead and drop a live your question post. So if you want to submit a question, go over to our YouTube channel, click on the post tab, and there is a live your question post for you guys. So you can go ahead and drop any questions that you might have, and I'll definitely answer them towards the end of the show. Crazy fun weekend so far for myself. My little boy is getting ready to start school. I was mentally prepared for my son to start pre-K in November, like pre-K 4, I think it is. But the school called and was like, look, we've got 3 weeks left of pre-K 3. If you want your son to get maybe a head start, you know, he can start like tomorrow. He can start later this week if you want him to, for the next 3 weeks, if you will. So we were out doing some uniform shopping for my son, getting him ready, you know, trying as a dad not to let my anxiety get the best of me of putting my son out into the education world, where teachers can mold and shape him and get the opportunity for him to play and learn activities and stuff with other kids, sort of thing. So he seems excited for the process of going to school. But your boy is anxious. So it was a really busy day yesterday, getting about, doing some shopping for everything. But we're here today, man. We're here today, and we're going to be talking some amazing topics with you guys today. Looking forward to hearing how you guys feel about some of these things for sure as we inch closer to, really, we're in May right now. We are in very much like, it's time for summer blockbuster movies. In the words of Anakin Skywalker, this is where the fun begins. You know what I'm saying? We got some big movies that are going to start dropping here in May. We got Spider-Man and Supergirl in like June, if I'm not mistaken. I think we even got He-Man, the new Masters of the Universe movie in June also. 2026, I think, is going to be really fun. I think Mortal Kombat 2 comes out with, is that a June movie too, or is that a May movie? I can't even remember anymore. But regardless, it's going to do good. I'm looking really forward to the movies coming out the remainder of the year. But guys, let's go ahead and remember, I love to go ahead and shout out people that are joining us live. If you're in the live chat with us, let your presence be known. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some opportunity to shine here. And remember, because it's just me rocking solo dolo today, I'm going to need your strength. I'm going to need your energy. I'm going to need you guys' comments. So I'm not just talking to empty space out here today, okay? Who we got in the house? Ricky Perez certainly coming through. Hey, Adam, just saw 2 behind-the-scenes featurettes for the upcoming Masters of the Universe. It will be arriving in theaters soon. I'm hearing positive words, man. I'm hearing positive words about Masters of the Universe. We did just drop a brand new sort of villains featurette, if you will, like villains and characters featurette on our Facebook page. It looks good, man. They're really getting into like the Mattel toys, bringing these characters to life in truest form from their like they literally ripped out of the action figure cardboard plastic, you know what I'm saying, and literally put them on the big screen. So I got my fingers crossed for Travis Knight to have a really good outing with this movie. Ricky Perez also announced last week Super Mario Galaxy movie will be arriving on digital in May this month. Yeah, go ahead and check it out. Visually, the movie was stunning to me. I had a really good time with Super Mario Galaxy movie. Definitely had my issues with the writing. It definitely was lacking. I think the first one's a little bit better, but from a visual standpoint, I think Galaxy movie is like leaps and bounds better. It's pretty incredible. Toy Story 5 will be rated PG after another Pixar film, including Soul, Incredibles. Okay, I guess that's not really out of the norm for Toy Story, right? Also confirmed Stranger Things Tales from 85 scores early season 2 renewal. Thank you very much. I was going to bring that up in honorable mentions, but you got that covered for me, Ricky. But yes, I haven't had the opportunity to fully watch Stranger Things Tales from 85. I probably will. I started it a little bit for my little boy who's 4 years old. He's like 4.5 right now. He seemed kind of interested in it for sure. But I really like the voice acting. The voice work really works for me. The animation is really spot on. I'm gonna have to see what the story is like. Like from a character perspective, they all feel like the kids from the Stranger Things series so far. Even Hopper is like spot on too. So I don't know how good the series itself is, but I'm definitely going to tap into it for sure. But yeah, season 2 early renewal already. Pretty good news for them. And then Power Rangers Zeo turning 30 years old. Oh my god, bro. You want to make a brother feel old immediately? Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. How's it going, Peg C? Good to see you, brother. Thank you so much. Rewatching the old RoboCop TV series, the docu-series called RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop. It's a 4-part series where it talks about how the RoboCop movie came together. Very cool, man. There's been talk about a brand new RoboCop television series also. You said you're rewatching the old RoboCop. Was there an old TV series, or are you talking about the docu-series that you're certainly watching? Because I was like, why does it sound like there was an old RoboCop TV series back in the day that I used to watch? Maybe I'm tripping. Let me know. I'm going to my local comic book store today and pick up some free comic books. Free comic book day was yesterday. Dang it. I forgot why doesn't free comic book day just literally land on a new comic book day on Wednesday? Like, then I got to make 2 trips to the comic book store. So I didn't even know. I thought new comic. I saw the the releases for New Comic Book Day, but I thought that they were going to be released this past Wednesday. So when I went to my local comic book store, I didn't see any of them there. So I'm kind of hoping that they have some leftovers kind of going into the upcoming week, man, because there's a couple of issues that I really want to pick up. Kiki and Luca in the house. What's up, Kiki and Luca? We really appreciate you always coming through. As always, one of our regulars around here. We definitely got a bunch of regulars, man, that I appreciate you continuing to support this channel in any way. Pexy, I've been enjoying Super Space Sheriff Gavin. Can't wait for the next series after Gavin. He's gonna do well. Yeah, man, I got to catch up. You know, I wind up removing my VPN. I was using Windscribe, I believe. I need to get a new VPN because if I'm going to plan on downloading anything, I need a new VPN. If you guys have any VPNs that you would recommend or suggest, I would assume that even if it's a free VPN, I probably do have to pay something in order to download like torrent files and things like that. So if you've got a good VPN that doesn't really cause issues for torrents, please let me know. I need suggestions. We got Kiki and Luca. Good luck and congratulations to Stuart on his marriage. Absolutely. They've been together for a minute now. I remember when he proposed. How long, they've been engaged for a minute now. So this is a big moment for Stuart, man. So congratulations to Stuart. If I had a beer right now, I would cheers to you. If I had a blunt right now, I would take a puff for you. I have neither, but I do have some coffee right now. So shout out to Stuart, who's preparing for a big day tomorrow. Pexy says, I think Mortal Kombat is in May. Yeah, I think it's in May too. I've been seeing a lot more promotions for it. Marcelino, what's up, Marcelino? Marcelino coming through. The boys just hit a new low with this final season dedicated to filler, and many say it's worse than season 4. Many people believe it's going to end underwhelmingly. Yikes. I'll have to ask my girlfriend how she's feeling about the series. I have yet to watch it myself personally, but I don't know how she felt about the previous season. I'll have to ask her. I will not stay around because it's only you today. No Stuart, no live stream for me. Yeah, I know, man. You a hater, bro. You a hater, Marcelino. I love you, Marcelino, but you a hater on me, dude. Like, I don't know what I ever did to you, man. Like, I thought we were like this, bro, like this, but that's okay. That's okay. Peg C. Let's see here. Pexy says ExpressVPN. Okay, maybe I feel like I used to have ExpressVPN, but I don't know why I stopped having it, honestly. Marceline says also Bumblebee is now free to watch on YouTube. A lot of popular movies like Kill Bill, Hunger Games, and many others are free for YouTube. That's interesting. I wonder why they're going the free route on YouTube. Interesting. He says or NordVPN. Okay, interesting. What's the purpose of VPN? Usually to kind of block your IP address, so people can't necessarily track you, and like kind of protects you in that way. But it also allows you, I believe, for certain like streaming services and things like that, you can switch your location. It allows it provides you with like a new IP address for a new location, any particular where that you want to. So if there are things that you want to maybe access that's only international places can get, that's certainly an option too. But it really kind of like, for me, it definitely protects my IP address if I ever want to download anything, so that they can't necessarily track you, if that makes sense. So it's a good protector in that regards. I'm sure there's probably other fantastic purposes for VPNs, but that's how I've always used my VPN. I'm sorry. There was a RoboCop kids cartoon and a live action RoboCop TV show. That's what I'm thinking about. The live action TV show has a 12-year-old sidekick who makes all of RoboCop's weapons. Okay. I was like, I thought I remember watching a live action RoboCop series at some point in time in my life. I just couldn't quite remember when that might have been. But yeah, guys, just a reminder, the live viewer question post is up. I know I dropped it super late for you guys today, but it is up there. If you want to go over to the YouTube channel, click on the post tab. There is a live viewer question post for you. Sorry, I'm hearing like noises in the background. I'm like, is that a ghost? No, it's my girlfriend in the background. Yeah, guys. Also, if you're on the YouTube channel, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like this video. It really does go a long way in helping the algorithm and certainly our reach. But now that that's out of the way, man, let's go ahead and kick off our first segment of the day. All right. We've got some honorable mentions for you guys today. We even got Blossom in the house. I was wondering, I was like, when is Blossom gonna join the live cast? Because when Blossom's not here, it feels a bit different. But I appreciate you coming through, Blossom, as always. Even Cena Nerd, we got good old Will Polk certainly joining us today. Just a quick hello, hello. Appreciate you coming through, man. I was gonna ask if you could co-host with me today, but it was like Saturday night, and I'm like, no, that's that's way too late to ask a brother. So I appreciate you certainly dropping in, man. Thank you very much. But we're in our honorable mentions portion of the show. If this is your first time watching the channel, honorable mentions is really the segment of the show in which we talk about topics that didn't quite make our top 6, but felt that you certainly still deserve to definitely know about them. And let's kick things off with some really cool promotional art. X-Men 97 season 2 is set to drop this year, and thanks to the website Nexus Point News, we wind up getting some brand new promotional images in here that might give us not only new looks into some of the characters, returning characters, new characters, but really different teams that are going to be splintering off, segmenting in here, really teaming up for this season. There's a lot of characters in here, so let's go ahead and dive into this, man. Let me can I move my image over? Yeah, there we go. Previously on X-Men, we've got some of the brand new designs here. You got Cyclops and Jean in the top right. We got really look, back in the 90s, after Wolverine lost his adamantium, my man was a skeleton. That's all he had was skeleton claws, no adamantium bones or anything like that. Even like disfigured him to the point of literally looking like a beast or a Wolverine of some type. And you can clearly see that that's the direction that they're tapping into here now that after what happened to him in the events of season 1 for X-Men 97, we got ourselves a brand new look at Wolverine here. Shout out to the animation form of things for always being able to take legit risks and do things from a creative standpoint that live action just seemingly will never kind of tap into. So I'm really like, this was like a blip on the radar in regards to Wolverine's life, but the fact that they're giving us this in animation form, fantastic. But you get the opportunity to see some of the different characters here. We got 3 teams that seemingly are going to be formed from this. We got the X-Force team, Jubilee and Sunspot kind of sticking together. Archangel in here, Cable, Psylocke. Maybe this is the team that kind of transverses through time to maybe try and find some of the displaced X-Men at some point in time. Maybe they're like, this is X-Force has always been known for like the most dangerous sort of elite missions. And so maybe this is in fact their squad to maybe try and find some of the people that are either in the future or over an apocalypse. I mean, the fact that we have an Archangel in here already, and that we're going to be meeting Apocalypse, I'm kind of curious in regards to is this like after meeting the original Apocalypse from like thousands of years ago sort of thing, or is this a team of like current X-Men that are going to be put together? So it'll be interesting. So we do have an X-Force team. We also have X-Factor that's going to be playing a role in here. I wonder with the breakup, I don't want to say the breakup, but with the splintering of the X-Men, if this is going to end up being sort of like the team that kind of steps up in their place to kind of, I don't want to say take over per se, but be like the main team that goes on missions and helps out as of right now. Yeah, we got Havoc, Polaris, was it Gideon, Multiple Men? Is that Wolfsbane? I can never remember her name. Yeah, we got X Factor here and an interesting new crop of, I don't want to say crop of characters, but a new team here in X Corp. as we've got looks like Nightcrawler, Rogue, Cyclops, Jean, Beast, Bishop, and I don't know who that is. Is that Polaris at the bottom also? Do I have another image of the X Core team? No, this is the X Force team. Who's this? This looks like this might be Morph and Wolverine also. I don't know. I don't know if these are some like teams that are actually been put together, or if they're just like just from a promotional image standpoint, just putting some of these characters together per se. But I'm loving the costume designs for sure. Nightcrawlers looks actually pretty dope here. But yeah, some brand new images for you guys in regards to X-Men 97. I'm not quite sure when the series itself is going to be released, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do for sure. I like the concept art for season 2 of X-Men 97. Wolverine looks kind of creepy without his adamantium. Yeah, he actually looked like he looked pretty legit creepy for sure. Can't wait to see this again. It took me a while to figure out who that was, but I like the new look for Wolverine. Yeah, it's definitely Wolverine for sure. Which X-Men comics that did not exist back in the 90s do you hope that they adapt that did in the near future? I personally hope X-Men versus Inhumans is probably the only love Inhumans will get recently. Yeah, you're probably right in that regards. I know it'll never happen. But they did have an X-Men and Teen Titans crossover event, I believe, back in the 90s. That would have been pretty dope little animated crossover. But that's not a real life thing that I think will ever happen. But man, it would be pretty cool to see, honestly. Pexy says no Iceman or Colossus or Dazzler. Yeah, a little bit bummer in that regards. The green-haired girl was Lorna, Iceman's ex-girlfriend. Isn't that Polaris, right? Havoc's ex-girlfriend too? Man, I didn't know so many people dated Lorna for sure. But that is Polaris's real name, right? Lorna? Or am I tripping? Let me know. What else we got here for honorable mentions? What else is in the news here? Oh, we got ourselves a brand new Supergirl promotional poster, which looks pretty dope if you ask me. Truth, justice, whatever. I honestly pretty much I really dig the tagline for this one. I really do. The more and more that I see of this movie, the more and more I'm getting hyped for it. The director is out doing a press tour right now and talking a little bit more about this movie. And every time that I see like just promotional art or whatever the case may be, new images, new visuals for it, it continues to look better and better for me. Like my anticipation for Supergirl since the release of the first trailer has become leaps and bounds. The second trailer I thought was phenomenal in regards to really getting my hype train excited for it. And then just hearing some of the other, they've been dropping like exclusive images from like Entertainment Weekly and other places and things like that. So I do think that this movie comes out in June. I do think that it could probably do a little bit more marketing. I don't feel like it's as heavy as what Superman certainly was, but I definitely want to see them continue to push this movie down our throats. I would be even cooler with like another trailer, if I'm being honest, to be released sometime later on this month. I would really appreciate that even more. But yeah, keep giving me the promotional images, keep giving me the promos, anything with Millie Alcock on it, showcasing what she's going to do as the character. Please do, man, because this movie certainly needs it. But I think they're doing good stuff with this. Good stuff with this for sure. Next up, we also got Casper in the news. That's right. According to Deadline, we got a Casper live action series currently in the works at Disney Plus. It says, in a very competitive situation involving a 5-way bidding war, Disney has landed a new series take on Casper the Friendly Ghost. Live action project comes from Rob Letterman. They were executive producers for the Disney Plus series Goosebumps, which I didn't watch the entire series of Goosebumps, but the episodes that I watch, I did enjoy. There's no details yet about the new Casper, described as a modern update on the classic ghost story, which is in early stages of development. So it sounds like this could be greenlit at some point in time, maybe not. Early stages of development sounds like it's really like just barely kind of coming together with an idea and the concept. It is believed to have a dark edge in a way that Wednesday tackles the Addams family lore. I don't know if there's anything dark about Casper that they can kind of tap into, similar to what Wednesday is certainly doing, but it seems like they're gonna go for it. So again, this while it's in early development, this isn't necessarily promised to actually come to fruition, but it definitely is something that Disney Plus is keeping a close eye on. Next, we do have some unfortunate news in regards to Daredevil Born Again. Apparently, according to comicbook.com, season 2 viewership has dropped over 50% from season 1. That's right. The critical scores, it says the season 2 represents showrunners' full creative season. The result is marked more cohesive and a confident series. It's rocking a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. The viewership numbers, though, however, are telling a different story. According to some data through the first 5 episodes of each season, it's only accumulated about 4.5 million compared to the first 5-week window from season 1, which was 8.3 million. That represents a decline of approximately 46% in total views. And week by week, it seems to be losing more viewership, if you will, which is definitely a bummer. This television series is currently in the process of filming season 3 as of right now. I am kind of curious as to how committed Marvel Television certainly is. With season 3 already in development, this season is definitely getting 3 seasons for sure. But it will be interesting after season 3 winds up dropping how quickly we hear of a renewal for season 4. Honestly, if at all, to be honest with you, I am kind of curious. I mean, I do think there are some things against Daredevil, and that's probably the idea of baggage. And by baggage, I mean a Netflix seasons, those 3 Netflix seasons. It is one of those things where um, Daredevil Born Again feels like a show that in order to get its full impact, you sort of need to have seen the other Netflix series. I don't know if it's as invitable to new viewers as other shows certainly are because of all the baggage from the Netflix series that it's certainly connected to. Like, I personally have a friend at work who's like, man, I really want to watch Born Again, but I never finished Daredevil season 3. And I almost feel like you have to watch Daredevil season 3, especially with the Kingpin and Bullseye storyline, to really get like the full effect of Daredevil Born Again as a series itself. So, unless you were already watching Daredevil on Netflix, I am kind of curious as to how much of a new audience has really tapped into this. Because while I enjoyed season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, it definitely was a little bit shaky at times. So I can understand season 2 maybe having a little bit of a decline in viewership, but as a whole, week to week, season 2 has gotten just better and better and better and better. That it is one of those things that I would think the viewership would either stay steady or continue to improve word of mouth wise. But I don't know what the marketing is like or if they really are pushing this sort of thing. But there are moments I feel like Daredevil tends to be kind of closed off to new viewership if you're not familiar with the Netflix stuff. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there are other things that are kind of pulling down the season viewership wise. Because I can tell you right now, it is definitely not the content. The show has been incredible this season. Really hyped for it, and cannot wait to see how it ends. But let me know your guys' thought with viewership dropping anywhere between 46 to 50% since season 1. And do you think season 4 is even possible at this time? Or how long do you think Marvel is willing to continue to produce this show if the numbers certainly are not there? But let me know your thoughts. And then last but not least, we got Welcome to Derry in here. Quick update, Andy Muschietti was talking with Deadline on a TV panel, and that he will still be using the content of Stephen King's original novel of It, um, for It Welcome to Derry season 2. He said this would allow him to create storylines while also staying true to the iconic author's work. And to the delight of viewers, the creator revealed that he and the writers are already working on the upcoming season. That's right. Season 2 is in the process of being worked on right now from a writing perspective. I have no idea how long that means this movie's going to take, or this show's going to take, before it actually hits HBO Max for season 2. Maybe like a late 2027 release, maybe. That might be like generous, to be quite frank with you. But we'll see. We'll see what will happen here. But season 2 is in the process of being worked and written, and that's really all I can kind of ask for, to be quite frank with you guys. I was a big fan of season 1, so I'm really excited to see what they do kind of going forward. But yeah, season 2 is currently being written. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in regards to some of the honorable mentions that we tapped into here today. Um there will be a premiere at Tribeca on June 3rd or 13th, I think, before everyone else sometime this year. Are you talking about the X-Men 97? I can't quite remember. But oh yeah, there will be he did clarify there will be an X-Men 97 premiere at Tribeca later on this year. Yeah, the season is supposed to be dropping later on this year for sure. I'm assuming maybe like a fall kind of release date. But we'll see. Marcelin says people are saying they're getting tired of Kingpin and want more of Daredevil's other rogues gallery. I can understand that complaint too. I am kind of curious if people are over Kingpin a little bit. I think he's been great this season, though, man. Like I think he's been really, really great this season. I can't get enough of Kingpin and just the chemistry and relationship between him and Matt Murdock, but I completely 100% understand how people feel that way for sure. But man, he's had such a good story this season. He really has. I've loved seeing the idea of him sort of especially ever since the death of Vanessa, you really see just how much Vanessa has kept him sort of, I don't want to say locked up, but controlled to a certain extent. He's kept his head on his shoulders, but now that he's gone, I mean, this dude is like ruthless, right? Like you just let the beast out of the cage. And I'm really loving what Vincent D'Onofrio is doing as Kingpin in here, and giving us sort of that vulnerable, unhinged sort of version of himself now that he seemingly is kind of lost and just out for blood, you know. So I'm loving what he's doing. But I would agree, it is time for somebody else to kind of step up. And I think season 3 will be really dependent on that. I have seen some early set photos of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin still a part of the series. I don't think he's going to be nowhere near as powerful after season 2 ends, but I am kind of curious to see who steps up to take his place, because they definitely do need to shake things up a little bit, especially if they want something like a season 4 early release or early renewal. Blossom says, great to see Casper after all these years, but I don't know. An edgier take on the ghost I know and love. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the people around him that are going to be darker and edgier, because I can't imagine Casper not being the friendly ghost that we all know him to be, but we'll see. Appreciate you coming through, Will. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Marcelina says, for me personally, I think it's warranted that people should watch the past Netflix shows, and I don't want people to watch Born Again without watching the Netflix. That's just unfair and narrow-minded. I mean, I don't know if it's narrow-minded so much. I mean, some people just don't want to have to do all that work and just let me just jump in and see what Daredevil is certainly all about. Maybe they tackle season 1 and they're like, you know what? I kind of want to go back. So I understand people's trepidation. I mean, it's like 3 seasons, so it is a lot of content to have to go through in order to dive in. But I do think it is paramount. Like I do think it is extremely important to watch those before you dive into Born Again, or you probably will be very lost. Daredevil season 2 and Welcome to Derry are both shows I want to see but haven't yet. Get on it, Kiki and Luca. You will not be disappointed. I love Wednesday season 1. Couldn't get through season 2. It was a slog. I've kind of heard that from people. I don't think we finished Wednesday season 2. I don't even know if I don't even know if me and the girlfriend started it, to be honest with you. Bullseye is a great character. Reminds me of Assassins and Road of Perdition. Oh, that's a great comparison, Kiki and Luca. Kingpin and Echo. What did you think of that portrayal? I never even finished Echo, dude. That, like, if we're talking about things that were a slog, Echo was a slog for me, man. I tried. I really tried, though. I really tried. Pexy says Vincent D'Onofrio has come a long way from his days on the TV show Lord and Order: Criminal Intent. And you know what? I actually saw him do an interview recently with Charlie Cox. They were sitting down talking about some of their past stuff. I didn't even realize he was the guy in the first Men in Black movie that was the alien cockroach guy. I didn't even know that was Vincent D'Onofrio. Don't even look like him as of right now, but he was talking about filming with the roach scene in the diner, or when he was presenting the food to the people and like the roaches came out of his sleeve, sort of thing. He was talking to Charlie Cox about that experience of filming it and his phobia of roaches, and having to kind of get through that scene. And when he talked about it, I'm like, there's no way he's the roach alien dude from Men in Black. But that's him. That's him. It blew me away, dude. It blew me away. He was fantastic in Men in Black. Yeah, dude. He's a really talented dude, and I'm really glad to see where his career is definitely taking him from TV to movies. I mean, the guy can really do it all. But that will do it for all of our honorable mentions here today, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for everybody who chimed in and some of the news that we wind up having today. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on any of those topics that we highlighted. Before we even tackle our main topics, I got to get a swig of this caffeine. You know what I mean? If you're in Texas, shout out to Summer Moon Coffee. I got one like right down the block from me. Really love the place, man. It's really hard for me to even drink Starbucks anymore at this point in time, to be quite fair with you. Everything else just feels so watered down and tasteless to me. But Summer Moon is just top-notch stuff. So if you have a Summer Moon in your area, please go ahead and do so. I'm not trying to get a sponsorship or anything like that. I'm just telling you what your boy likes, okay? Let's see here. All right, man. Let's go ahead and tackle some news, shall we? First and foremost, we got 6 incredible topics, 3 of which are certainly highlighted today on our thumbnail. We're going to be talking about some Spider-Man Brand New Day. Even though I personally have not watched all of season 1 of My Adventures with Superman, I know there's an audience for it. We wind up getting a brand new first look at season 3 that's going to be dropping later on this summer. We're going to be diving into it. Entertainment Weekly had a great article and a brand new image in that, so we're going to talk about that. Even Django. That's right. Django is back in the news, baby, as it looks as though we might be getting ourselves another Django movie, this time with a twist, especially inspired from a recent comic book crossover. And we got a ton more that we're going to be diving into. But let's go ahead and kick off with Brand New Day, because it is, in fact, a brand new day for Spider-Man and Tom Holland, who will be the first Spider-Man to go ahead and have a 4th film, beating his trilogy and starting what will seemingly be a new trilogy here. This movie is, in fact, set to go ahead and drop in June, and the hype machine has been rolling, especially ever since we wind up getting some set photos originally, and then the trailer itself kind of dropped. This feels like this is the latest a trailer has ever dropped for a movie from the MCU in a really long time. I am expecting at least one more trailer before the movie winds up coming out in June, but the hype machine is real right now. So let's go ahead and talk about this, because we do have some brand new story details, as Destin Daniel Cretton, the director, is currently making his rounds, hyping up the movie itself, and getting ready for some promotion. So let's go ahead and dive into some interviews that we've seen him have right now. Let me go ahead and bring up this first one. This one is coming to us from Comic Book Movie, I believe. Yeah, comicbookmovie.com. Let me see if this will pull up for me here. There we go. There we go. We got it now. Connection's being a little bit shanky, but Spider-Man brand new director reveals test screening reactions and news story details. Um, some have been bold enough to predict that it will outgross Avengers Doomsday. That's a big ask. One, it doesn't seem possible. It doesn't seem impossible considering the fact that No Way Home is just shy of about $2 billion. During a conversation with Deadline, he confirms that early test screenings have taken place. This comes after recent comments from Tom Holland, who reached we're excited about the movie. I'm really excited about the small test screenings and how it's connecting with audiences. Of course, it's a big blockbuster. It's fun. It's got all added by saying how the test screenings were connecting with the audience. It seems fair to say that the reactions from attendees must have been largely positive. And to be fair, while I haven't read every single reaction for it, I am hearing news that people are like floored by this movie, like floored by this movie to the point of like test screenings for an MCU movie have not been as good as uh as like Avengers Endgame. Like the test screenings for Spider-Man Brand New Day have been at the level of Avengers uh Endgame. So I think that few more insights. The Wonder Man and Shang-Chi helm are added. At its core, it's a movie about relearning how to connect with people. I'm really excited to put it out in the world right now. And I really love that idea. I mean, because we are finding ourselves in a situation where Peter Parker is very much sort of isolated, right? Focused on being a hero. His two best friends are no longer his best friends in the sense of they're just not around, right? He doesn't have a life, or he doesn't have people that he can really share his life with. And after the amount of time from No Way Home to Brand New Day, this is really Peter in isolation, right? Him maybe learning how to get his social skills back, make friends, be relatable, reach out to people, sort of thing. You know, so I do think this is a film that, like, whether you're an introvert or you're somebody that's shy or you're dealing with something mentally in the sense of like not being able to reach out to other people and really form bonds and personal relationships, right? I'll be really interested to kind of see just from an emotional and mental standpoint where Peter's at and him having to sort of relearn that aspect about his life once again. And so I think they're really are tapping into something pretty fantastic here. We also have another article here from, I think this is an interview, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, an interview with Screen Rant, where they had the opportunity to sit down with him, the director as well. Let's see what this interview talks about. This is Brand New Day director Destin Daniel Cretton previews Peter Parker's most emotional story yet. It says, what excited you most about stepping into the Spider-Man universe for Brand New Day? He says, Peter Parker has always been a character that I can see myself in. And I think that's probably, not to put words in my boy's mouth here, but I think that's why we all love Peter Parker, right? Like for me, I think he's probably one of the most relatable heroes that we have out there, right? The idea that we live paycheck to paycheck too, right? Like sometimes we got to take odd jobs in order to make a living for ourselves. Nothing ever necessarily goes our way perfectly all the time, right? There's always hurdles and obstacles, or when we think we've got something really good going for ourselves, like everybody, something kind of always gets in the way. But being able to see how Peter manages that, how he continues to stay positive or find the lightheartedness in it all, right? Like I think we all wish that we can tackle life in the sense of having a quick, witty comment to push back against whatever's alienness sort of thing, and still being able to have that mindset of being a hero and putting others first and being there for his neighborhood sort of thing. Like, I think it's something that we all really aspire to be and can really see ourselves in. So the fact that he connects that way with the character because he sees himself in it, I think is how we all feel about Peter Parker and why we love him so much. He's imperfect, clumsy with his words, makes a lot of mistakes, and though he gets a lot of things wrong, he's always trying to do the right thing. Tom Holland's portrayal of the character was practically relatable to me, was particularly relatable to me. He brings so much life and charm into his performance and has that magical ability to walk the line between comedy and drama effortlessly. I was very excited to work with him, and I'm happy to see he exceeded all of my expectations. I might have said this before when posting things over on Facebook before, but I really do think that this is going to be one of Tom Holland's best performances as Spider-Man. And I think that's even saying a lot considering the fact that we literally just got my man in No Way Home, having lost his Aunt May and having to deal with the concept of avenging or revenge, right? And having to learn really pivotal life lessons from his other alternate universe counterparts in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And that alone in those moments was probably Tom Holland like at his best as Spider-Man so far. So to kind of go into this particular movie and have Destin compliment Tom Holland the way that he is, I do think we're going to get ourselves another special performance for him. I tell people all the time, while I definitely don't think Tom Holland necessarily picks all of the best movies kind of suited for him outside of maybe what he's about to drop later on this summer too with The Odyssey. A movie that he's really great in and I think shows great emotional range too is he was younger at the time though, but The Impossible with Ewan McGregor. If you get the opportunity to check out Tom Holland in The Impossible, you'll see exactly what I mean. And so I think he's got an amazing amount of range. I really hope as he gets older, he continues to branch out in regards to things that he does, because I do think he could easily be, I think, an Academy Award, at least a nominee at some point in time in his life. Um, he says, without giving too much away, how would you describe the tone of this film compared to previous Spider-Man stories? Peter's not in high school anymore. Our story, where'd it go? Our story takes place about 4 years later. It's that time in your mid 20s when the harsh realities of life can sometimes slap you in the face. Peter is dealing with some real grown up problems, both personally and professionally. And for the first time, he's learning how to deal with them completely on his own. My man's got to pay bills. Okay, my man's got to pay bills. I'm sure my man probably got like an eviction notice on his apartment complex. I'm sure my man is struggling right now. I am kind of curious if he taps into photography in this movie. If he ever tries to find a job over at the Daily Bugle, or if this is his first, like maybe by the end of this movie, he's like, I need to like grow up and really focus on my life, or the life that I have is going to kind of crumble around me, and maybe he takes things a little bit more seriously eventually. But it does look as though this is going to be a pretty powerful journey for him. What aspects of Peter's journey were most important for you to explore this chapter? Peter's going through a stage that I think many of us can relate to now. He's living in the middle of New York City, surrounded by millions of people, yet somehow he feels completely disconnected and alone. This is the first time we see Peter trying to live his life outside of community of friends and family, and his isolation has some unexpected consequences that will complicate everything in his life. After No Way Home, this story seems to bring Peter back to a more street level world. How did you approach the visual language to reflect that shift? I'm very excited to work with the director of photography to create an aesthetic that is both grounded and beautiful. We wanted to show Spider-Man adrift in New York City that showcases all of its imperfections. I think from a visual standpoint too, when you go, especially you watch the recent trailer in here, like you feel a distinct like different aesthetic that you didn't feel necessarily when you watch the original trilogy. And that's definitely purposeful, right? Like what John Watts and his directors of photography were able to do was able to tap into sort of like that coming of age story, the high school drama, the great supporting characters and the relationships and stuff, right? So things are a little bit, brighter and, much colorful, maybe about, pop off the screen at you sort of thing. Whereas the aesthetic in here, when you see the trailer itself, I love how he says it, grounded and beautiful, because it's not quite completely grounded. There are aspects of it that still make it pop off the screen for you as well. But it does seem like a very sort of nice balance of what they're trying to go for in here. What do you hope audiences will feel when they walk out of Brand New Day? This movie is about the importance of connecting with other people. There's no better place to experience it than in the theater full of people who might just be going through that stage in their life similar to yours. And by the time the credits roll, like Peter, people might feel a little bit more connected. What surprised you most about working on a Spider-Man film at this scale? I think this is the last question he has here. Where'd it go? Come on. He says, I was surprised on this film. Where did it go? Come on. Okay, why is this gonna? Okay, I was surprised that on a film of this scale, that the amount of budget and a huge crew, that I still found myself surrounded by really wonderful, thoughtful, kind collaborators who wanted to make a great movie and had a lot of fun doing it. Um, yeah, man, I'm really excited for this. I think, after Shang-Chi, and I think especially after Wonder Man, which he was the helmer for also, there's definitely something very special about what Destin Daniel Cretton is capable of doing. Clearly, he can make a great sort of superhero action movie, as we saw in Shang-Chi, but also a very character driven, character study type of uh, a series as well when it comes to something like Wonder Man. And so you're very much able to see the range that he's able to do. And so, I think the story for Wonder Man and learning about Simon Williams, and how all that was presented to us, I think I want to see a little bit more of that in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I think that's exactly what we're going to get. I mean, he's definitely not going to slack on the action and the superhero aspects of things. I mean, my goodness, he wound up bringing in the Jackie Chan stunt team to do some of the fight choreography for the brand new Spider-Man movie, right? So, from an action and superhero standpoint, this is definitely going to deliver. But with Peter Parker at an older age too, I think it is very important for them to be able to tap into a lot of that character work, really flesh him out even more, really showcase that he's at a completely different pivotal point in his life, and really where he's at emotionally now that he's kind of isolated himself. One of the things that I think really appeals to me, what Marvel Studios has been doing lately, and you can kind of go back to something like Thunderbolts, is that I do think that they're really tapping into how people are currently feeling today. I think if you can make an emotionally connected movie that people can view themselves through in that lens, I do think you have a recipe for a really great movie. When he talks about the concept of isolation, I think that is the problem with a lot of our society ever since we wind up having COVID, right? I mean, COVID took a year and a half, maybe 2 years of our lives away from each other. People had to stay isolated and excluded. You couldn't be within 6 to 7 feet of people. People stayed inside of their houses, inside of their apartment complexes, just watching TV and feeding themselves with social media and internet, and really not like connecting, right? So I think that there's a natural connection from a storyline perspective that they decided to choose on in here, that anybody that had to experience what we've had to experience over the past 6 years or so can easily relate to. And while he's not talking about the concept of COVID, he is talking about the idea of what that feeling of isolation certainly might have been like, and something that we can kind of all relate to. But now, just putting that in the world of Peter Parker without his friends, without people knowing where he's at, no longer having an aunt nearby to kind of give him that advice and really kind of be sort of on his own. So I think this is a really smart choice. I think Marvel was great in regards to finding a script and something that would be really relatable to people. And I think they might have something special here. I really, really do. But that's not the end of the Spider-Man talk. We did have a surprisingly, I thought that at first this was like a leak, and I didn't want to see it at first. But this is definitely planned, part of their marketing strategy. They released 3 script pages from Brand New Day. I don't believe it's like page 1, page 2, page 3. It might just be like 3 completely different random pages. But it does give you a little bit of insight in regards to the movie itself, and some of the things that we can kind of look forward to. And Entertainment Weekly this week did a really great breakdown of what was inside of this script and what we've personally have come to learn about it. So I think these are really cool little details here and there that don't really spoil the movie for you. If you want to avoid this section of the interview of the topics, that's fine. But I do think this is more of cliff notes, if you will, in regards to like, here's what we learned. But I personally don't think it gives away too much. But let's go ahead and dive into this. It says we have ourselves an updated opening Marvel logo. Longtime watchers are familiar with the opening logo. It says this time we're going to get a new one. It says that footage of Spider-Man Brand New Day, according to the script, will now include footage of the memories that Peter no longer shares with Ned and MJ and Aunt May. So I would assume as the logo's coming on screen, you know how we get the different images of like the Avengers or moments within sort of the MCU. I think it's going to be sort of filled now with moments for Spider-Man or Peter Parker's kind of memories in that regards. What else do we have here? We also have the opening sequences revealed, revealing that he's completely alone for the first time. He's still in possession of the letter that he wrote to MJ at the end of No Way Home, the one that explains what happened to him. It says according to this, it says we're 9 months after the events of the ending shot from No Way Home. Although I believe Destin Daniel Cretton said like 4 years removed. So I'm not sure exactly what the time period really is going to be. But it says we're 9 months after the events. He developed some unhealthy living patterns, and it's taken a physical toll on him. What's described in the script as a small, sharp headache is our first inkling that living completely in the shadows is taking its toll on Peter. Something is changing, and maybe not for the better. You know, when they talk about like unhealthy habits, you know, I'm just thinking the idea of like a single man living in an apartment, right? Like when I first moved into my apartment, my unhealthy habits was like I had a fridge filled with just frozen pizza and milk and cereal. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe not treating my body the best or eating the best, you know, now that I was kind of alone on my own. Lord knows what Peter Parker has in his fridge once he once he opens it up. We also get the opportunity to meet Evie. Peter no longer has access to the money and gadgets. All of his tech needs to be made by Peter. So people that were like, oh, he's just baby Tony Stark, it seems as though that's definitely going to be different in here. Enter Evie, Peter's AI assistant, who operates similar to Jarvis or Friday. She is sadly the closest thing Peter has to a friend. And dude, I think that's like super relatable these days too. There's so many friends that I know that tell me all the time, yeah, so I talked to Chat GPT and they gave me some really great like advice, life advice. And so there are people that literally will talk to their AI programs. I don't know what that says about their own personal life, or it's just like another voice in their ear sort of thing. But EV is clearly going to be Peter's closest friend. He also has a homemade fabricator, which is essentially a 3D printer on steroids, which is something that could be made by a kid genius with limited funds. He's also been keeping an eye on MJ and Ned. I think we can kind of see that just from the trailers alone. He also sets up alerts on his phone, one that tells him flowers for May, in the process of visiting her gravestone, and also notifies him of social media posts with MJ and Ned. Peter smiles for them, is what he says, even if he's miserable without them. Opening action set piece. As Peter's voiceover continues reading the letter, we cut to a familiar scene from the trailer of Spider-Man sitting upside down on the steel beam. A police scanner on his phone notifies him that the SWAT team is en route 15 minutes. He pulls down his mask, letting himself fall off the edge. He webs up and swings away as music starts to play, and we begin montage. So I wonder if that's that'll be an interesting montage to kind of see what they wind up putting together there. But it does seem as though that might be one of the first opening sequences to really kick off the movie itself. And yes, Spider-Man has a brand new suit. He doesn't have access to his typical resources. He goes back to his roots and makes a new one for himself. Real fabric, seams, and wrinkles is what the director winds up saying. So yeah, you can all read this for yourself if you want to see how a script is actually written, some of the notes that are written on the script. If you want to go ahead and check it out, please go ahead and do so. That's easily available and accessible for everybody there. But the more and more I hear about this movie, man, the more and more I'm definitely hyped for it. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm really looking forward to this movie. Do I think this movie is going to gross more than Avengers Doomsday? I do not. Do I think it could still be? I think this movie is definitely going to be making over the $1.5 billion. I do think people will continue to come out and see it for sure. I don't know if it needs to replicate what Spider-Man No Way Home did. I mean, that movie was literally, I mean, you not only did you have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield certainly returning, but that movie almost felt like a culmination of like every Spider-Man movie that we certainly had, right? So I looked at it as a very big sort of event type film. I don't know if I feel Brand New Day is an event type film, but it is definitely a nice leaping off point for a new trilogy at least. And so I do think it's going to be wildly successful. But I'm absolutely loving everything that I'm hearing from Destin Daniel Cretton, from the script itself. Visually, this movie looks stunning. I really still have no idea who the villain or the baddie in this movie is certainly going to be outside of Sadie Sink in regards to baddies. But I'm kind of curious to see where the true plot of this movie is. I think they've hidden a lot from us still. And I can't wait to see how it really culminates and certainly all comes together. I hope while it feels like there's a lot of moving pieces and characters in here, I hope that the placement of these characters work really well in regards to its connectivity and flows beautifully, to where the editing really helps the pacing of this film and things like that. But I think they got the right man for the job, especially after seeing Shang-Chi and Wonder Man. I think Destin is definitely the man for Spider-Man Brand New Day. But let me know some of your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. Before we move on to the next topic, I do want to highlight some people. Kiki and Luca with a super chat here today. Thank you, Kiki and Luca. I really appreciate it. Look, I tried to find I swear, I think the day of Monday might have been like the last viewing of it, because I tried to find it for like Tuesday and Wednesday, and I wasn't able to find anything. But now that we have a new week here, I am going to go ahead and go into my AMC list and see if I can see if it's anywhere around my area whatsoever. Maybe I can try and make a emergency stop there sometime today. But always appreciate you coming through, Kiki and Luca. Frankie. Good morning, y'all. Tom Holland was really good in Devil all the time. I haven't seen that one, but thank you for that recommendation, man. I'll have to check that one out. Did you like Wonder Man? I heard amazing things about it, but I thought it was really slow. Not a whole lot happened. What did you think about it? I was a big fan of Wonder Man. I'm also a big film guy too in general, right? So seeing the behind the scenes process, seeing how actors go out for auditions and try and land roles and stuff. And when they're on the set, just that world in general of filmmaking really kind of intrigues me. But I also really enjoyed the idea that they allowed their actors to really perform, like really, especially like Yahya Abdul Mateen that plays Simon Williams. Really seeing like his range, like when they give him scripts and they just have these really long monologues or dialogues back to each other, like it just feels like artists really diving into their craft and showing you like in a weird like meta way what they do every day, that we necessarily maybe like take for granted because of the fact that they've already landed these jobs and they're portraying these characters for us. But like the work that really goes through was interesting to me, and I kind of appreciated sort of the mystery of like him gaining his powers and like the hints of the powers here and there, even the inclusion of Ben Kingsley, who's back in here in his role in regards to how it's connected and his, how it all plays into Simon Williams' life, sort of thing. So I can get definitely for some people that felt it was maybe a little bit slow or didn't appreciate it as much as me, but there were just other aspects of it that really worked because I am such a big film guy and I'm just fascinated with the filmmaking process. Kiki, a nice haircut. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Oh, the letter. So MJ is going to read the letter. I don't know. That I don't know. He still has got the letter. I am wondering if it's one of those things where like the letter falls out of his pocket when he goes, because from the trailer we see that he eventually gets to like a party that Ned and MJ are having. So whether or not he leaves the letter there, gives it to her, it falls out of his pocket. I don't know if she'll ever see it, but it is an interesting one. Yeah, Homecoming made 880 million. That's definitely nothing to sneeze at for a Spider-Man movie for sure. Far From Home made 1.3 billion, and I think No Way Home was like 1.8, 1.9 or something crazy like that. So definitely that trilogy up and up and up. And I definitely expect the same from Brand New Day. I'm not expecting 1.9. I think it'll probably make more than Far From Home in regards to 1.3, maybe 1.5. But I can easily, or maybe 1.3 to 1.5. And as long as they can keep the trajectory up, I think it'll be good. I think people like Tom Holland as Peter Parker. I think he works for that. I think he's like a great new generation for Peter. And considering the fact that he's been around for 4 films now, I think people really are really happy with him. So I'm glad that they stuck with him for sure. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to Spider-Man. No, Spider-Man Brand New Day. But we will continue the theme of Spider-Man around here because we do have another Spider-Man project on the way here, as we got Spider-Noir set to go ahead and drop on Prime Video later on this year. Is this another May release or is this a June release? I'm trying to see the article right now. I don't believe that it has a release date on it, but somebody remind me of the release date for Spider-Noir. It's literally like right around the corner though. But from Spider-Man Brand New Day to Spider-Noir, we've got the executive producers Lord and Miller praising Nicolas Cage here this week, fresh off of their work on Beyond the Spider-Verse, as we're looking forward to that last animated Miles Morales movie. Also fresh off of Project Hail Mary, that really kicked things off for us earlier on this year. They are back to be executive producers of Spider-Noir, and they really wanted to highlight the impact that Nicolas Cage has had on this particular series. So let's go ahead and dive into this article here and see what they're talking about. Lord and Miller were sold on Nicolas Cage's take on the hero, one part bogey, one part Bugs Bunny. When it comes to finding the right tone for the Prime Video series, Lord and Miller immediately signed on to star Nicolas Cage's novel inspiration, 70% Humphrey Bogart and 30% Bugs Bunny. It says that one of the things that you don't think about with noir is that you're like, it's super serious. During the panel at Deadline Contenders event on Saturday, but Bogart always had a twinkle in his eye, and he was always doing something clever. And he and Bugs Bunny have more in common than you think. He says, yeah, there's like a playfulness to it, right? Agreed, Lord. And there's a playfulness to Nick. I think that's why he's so iconic. And there's a playfulness to even the showrunner, Oren Uzel, who we worked with when we did the Jump Street movies. And so the idea that this show is, it is a big character drama. It is an amazing mystery. It's a big event television, but it's also light on its feet. Spider-Noir is a live action, yada, yada, yada. The origin story was this was a character that we developed from the Spider-Verse movies, and we had an amazing time working with Nick Cage. And when the idea of us making a live action Spider show came up, this was the first idea that we had because it felt like it was a contained universe. It was its own thing. Miller stressed that they didn't want to do something that's part of something giant web of interconnected series. It's just its own little jewel of a story. It's a big jewel. By little, I mean it's an enormous jewel. It's the Hope Diamond of television. So the two called upon their friend, the biggest noir aficionado we know, and he took the idea immediately. The idea of being able to do a Humphrey Bogart type character, a detective story, but the detective also happens to have spider powers. Give me 1 second here. I think my cat is like locked somewhere because she keeps meowing. Let me let her out. Hold on 1 second. You okay, Mama? Jesus, of course, right? The power of live TV, ladies and gentlemen. I went to go pick her up because she's meowing and she immediately ran under the bed. Like, come on, dude. Like, you want to be free from this room. I know you do. I know you do. Like, why are you running from me? Because now she's just going to come out and start meowing again, wanting to leave. But let's continue here. Miller's explained that Cage came right back to them saying, listen, is it okay if he's old and washed up as a character? Because I really relate to that type of person more than a plucky upstart teenager. And Miller says, we're like, absolutely. That's the thing that I love about noir is it's about people in impossible situations. And the thing that Amy Pascal always taught us about Spider-Man is that it's not about flying around. It's about what's going on inside these guys and how challenged they are trying to live their lives of human beings and also live their lives as heroes at the same time. I mean, look, if that's such great advice from Amy Pascal, how come she can't make a great Spider-Man movie, bruh? Like, or Spider-Man less movie. You know what I'm saying? I know she's a producer of the Spider-Man movies with teaming up with Marvel and things like that. But I look at those Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland very much as like Marvel productions, even though I know they're through Sony, because I just know that Marvel does a lot of the heavy lifting. So, the fact that Amy Pascal has taught these guys these important roles of Spider-Man, it's like that feels like she's learned that from Kevin Feige herself because, left alone to her own devices, they just cannot make a good Spider-Man movie or anything like that. So I am interested to see how this goes. There are a couple things in here that I am really fascinated by. First off, the fact that the showrunner himself, why isn't this like, do I not get a cool like image of these two at all? Oh, there we go. It was just there. Oh, I closed the player. Oops. Sorry, Adam. Anyway, I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan. Like I truly am. I am really happy that he approached these guys in the sense of like I have an interesting take in regards to how I want to do this character. We've never been introduced to a teenager plucky character of Spider-Noir, right? Like not even in the animated Into the Spider-Verse has he felt like a plucky teenager to me. He's always come across as like a seasoned veteran detective, if you will. I will say I do think the Spider-Noir series feels like it's maybe a few years even after his appearance in Into the Spider-Verse, like years removed. But I'm really glad that they went along with this project. I think Spider Noir definitely popped for a lot of people out of Into the Spider Verse. If there was ever a character from that first movie that I wanted to see explored more, it's definitely this one. Like just from, especially from like not only the character perspective, but a character design perspective, he's definitely the one that I certainly wanted to see explored more. If there's any other character, like even though I haven't fully finished Across the Spider Verse yet, I do need another. I need a Spider Punk project, which I think that they're currently working on, or even a Spider-Man 2099 project. I think would be really great to kind of see that, whether that be live action or in an animation form. But I do think the success of Spider Noir will open up opportunities for things like that. But to be able to focus on something that's not a big interconnected piece and something like its own standalone world, I think is a really bright idea from them. And they get somebody like Nicolas Cage who comes up with the idea of being like retired and somebody who's like been through the grinder sort of thing. It's a really great mix. And it's fascinating, especially for somebody that did a movie like 21 or 22 Jump Street, to bring him in, who I had no idea he was a noir aficionado. But when you watch the trailers, it just, those are the vibes that you get. It almost feels as though they were meant to make sort of television series or movie sort of in that particular style. So the fact that you get the noir aficionado to make a noir presentation for a series, it's just brilliant, man. Just absolutely brilliant. I kind of compared seeing the trailer to like vibes that I get out of the original Batman, the animated series, which felt very serious, drama led. But you definitely get those noir detective vibes from it. So if there's anything I can compare Spider Noir to, it probably would be Batman the animated series in that regards, but in live action. And I kind of appreciate the idea too that they are going the route of somebody that has sort of a plucky attitude that can kind of bring humor to cut through the drama. And if there's anybody that can definitely do it, it's Nicolas Cage. Like some of his performances, like drama wise, the man nails it, but he always has this ability to overperform at times, in particular moments, really bring levity and humor to it. Like a great moment, especially in the trailer, is when he bumps into Kat Hardy and she's like, or whoever he bumps into, he's like, it looks like you or like what happened to you? Something like he's got like a black eye. What happened to you? And he's like, oh, I went, I hit, I walked through a door, and it shows the image of like him getting beat up and his head sort of thrown through the door. And I think the question was like, well, how many doors or something like that? And Nicolas Cage just gives like an exasperated like sigh, like a I don't, like he doesn't even answer the question. It's just like he's just an emote. He just emotes at that point in time, and it's just all really about timing, based off of the situation that you find yourself in. And I just think Nicolas Cage has sort of that timing to it all. So it seems as though Lord and Miller is really happy with how this has all kind of come together, and I definitely don't blame them. I think that this series is really going to astonish and surprise some people, and continue to solidify what I've been saying for such a long time, in the sense of Lord and Miller just know what they're doing in regards to not even anymore, like not even just the Spider-Man world, but just when it comes to creating anything, like they just like if they touch a project, they just seemingly get it. And I think they know the type of projects that really work for them now. And I think they really get the opportunity to showcase things like that. I don't want to get too much into the Solo things, whatever the case may be. I think Solo definitely came at a different time in their lives. I don't know how a Solo movie would have done with them. There's a part of me that would say, oh, they would have knocked it out of the park easily. But I am a fan of what Ron Howard was capable of doing with Solo. And yes, there is a curiosity for me to find out what they could have done with Solo. But I do think that they have learned a lot from that time on Star Wars, and really taking those lessons and showcase what they're truly capable of in other projects. So anytime you see Lord and Miller executive produced or writing or directing a project, that is key to pay very close attention, because I don't think you guys are going to be disappointed whatsoever. But let me know your thoughts. Now that you hear I'm talking a little bit about Spider-Noir, where's your anticipation level for? Pegsy says May 27th is the release date, but I think Spider-Noir will release early on May 26th, exclusively on the linear MGM channel in the US. Okay, yeah, so it might be the MGM channel, but then mostly Prime Video, maybe on the 27th, if I'm not mistaken, like he says. God, we got a lot of Spider-Man about to hit us here, man, with May 27th for Spider-Noir, and then in June, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Blossom says, you're lucky to have a cat. I've got too many. If you want one, I've got plenty for you. Trust me. Give me a Scarlet Spider-Man also. Yeah, I do love Scarlet Spider. Good old Ben Reilly. Well, it's funny that this character is Ben Reilly also. Marcel says, many people say they don't care how great Spider-Noir is because it has Nicolas Cage in it. It's a deal breaker. Lame-os. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. They're missing out on great TV, bro. Just saying. But all right, guys, with that out of the way, we'll transition from the Marvel aspect of things to the wait, first off, what was the next one on here? Oh yeah, to the DC side of things, this time in the form of animation, as the adventures my adventures with Superman is back, is coming back a lot sooner than I think people certainly originally suspected. You know, one of the comments I feel like we get rather often from a subscriber or two around here is like, when is My Adventures with Superman coming back? I didn't realize exactly how long it's been since it's been off air, but if you ask me, way too long. Absolutely way too long. I really hope that the wait between seasons 2 and 3 doesn't hinder its performance from a viewership standpoint. It certainly might, but this week we finally got a little bit more insight in regards to a release date for it, and it's going to be here sooner than you think. First off, this poster goes hard, boy. I love this poster. This is an Entertainment Weekly first look exclusive image from the first poster here. My Adventures with Superman season 3 set to go ahead and drop June 13th at midnight. I believe it drops on midnight at Adult Swim, and then the very next day I believe it has its release on HBO Max. So I think they're waiting a week. They're waiting a day after its release on Adult Swim to then drop it on streaming. I think that's going to be how it goes for the remainder of this for the release, at least, of season 3. So definitely look forward to it. Let me go ahead and bring up this article here, because it definitely looks as though we're diving into the reign of Superman arc. We got Entertainment Weekly that gave us some really great insight in regards to what we can expect of season 3. Let me go ahead and bring this up here for you guys. There we go. My Adventures with Superman sets season 3 premiere. The showrunner previews the new arc. It's been nearly 2 years since we got a new episode of My Adventures with Superman. Part of that came down to the logistics. Animation takes a long time to produce, and the first 2 seasons were ordered in one batch of 20 episodes for Cartoon Network, is what the showrunner explained. Then the Warner Brothers Discovery merger yielded a wait and see period after season 1 wind up airing. He says, I want to be clear, the studio has always been super supportive and ready to make it. We just needed the stars and the bank accounts to align. We'll now get to see what the team has been cooking behind the scenes later this year. The season 3 premiere will first air during Adult Swim's Toonami anime action block on Saturday at midnight, with the streaming release on HBO Max the next day. So it looks like we got ourselves another new image here. This is kind of cool looking image there. I love the animation work for this show. So yeah, 2 years separated. Look, I know not every animation studio can now be Marvel Television and Marvel Animation. I got to say kudos to Brad Winderbaum, who is the head president over at Marvel Animation and Television, for the commitment to yearly releases. I have a feeling, though, had the merger at the time maybe not necessarily happened, I don't necessarily know if production would have slowed down for My Adventures with Superman. So I am kind of curious, is with this releasing on June 13th, how soon will Warner Brothers even order a season 4, if at all? And I only say that because we seemingly have now another merger that certainly might be taking place relatively soon if it goes through. So I am really curious as to like how far in the future Warner Brothers Discovery is ready to greenlight things, with the understanding that they may be purchased by Paramount at some point in time, right? Like, even though season 3 of My Adventures with Superman releases, will we get an immediate renewal where they begin production sort of immediately? Like, if animation takes a long time, there's a part of me that's hoping that you're already working on season 4 animation right now. But there's a part of me that thinks maybe that's not necessarily the case. So I am kind of curious if it's going to be season 3 releases, and do we have to wait another year or two before season 4 comes out, if at all? Who knows? He says, I just want to thank the fans for their patience on this, because the fans have been really amazing. It's really a great season. I've seen some of it. It's really funny, but the stakes are also so much higher. They say we're digesting Reign of Superman right now. To hammer that home, the official promo art reveals a first look at Cyborg Superman, aka Hank Henshaw, who was established at the end of season 2. We're Cyborg Superman right out of the gate. So apparently they wind up teasing him in season 2 at the end, but they're now fully invested in here. Published in 1993, Reign of Superman followed the Death of Superman arc. It's not going to be a retread of the comics, the showrunner says, but we did make all the writers read the comics. And that's during that particular storyline. That's where they introduced the Eradicator, Cyborg, Superman, Superboy, as well as Steel. So those 3 characters that you're aware of from the Superman comics, that's where they originate from. But it seems as though they're not retreading the comics according to them. It looks like they're probably taking some influences and finding new ways on doing that arc. What would we do with this premise now? It's less a death of Superman and more about what's a Superman. The fun thing about Reign of Superman is that it's all these imposters who have the same power set but different values. That's one of the things that I really did appreciate of seeing a lot of those characters come out of the 1993 story arc. A lot of them still around with us today. But being like the original moments that they came out, and just seeing like what they value, where their mindsets were, what they wanted to accomplish for themselves, right? Like, Superboy always came across as like this cocky, want to be famous, just want to be badass sort of Superboy that like was young, naive, had these powers, and just really wanted to kind of show off. I mean, Superboy back in the 90s, boy, had like just the dopest costume, the black leather jacket with the sunglasses. He always had the look. I always thought his look was the best. Steel was very much more about helping people, whatever the case may be. So I am glad that they're going to be talking about the concept of like, what is a Superman, instead of necessarily trying to, replace Superman. So we do have some returning people as well. Kara Zor-El is certainly coming back. Season 3 kicks off these characters figuring out their lives in the aftermath of the Brainiac saga. Clark is ready to settle down and build a future with Lois, who's worried about losing her star reporter status at the Daily Planet if they do so. Meanwhile, Kara, modeling herself after her Kryptonian cousin, is now on the hunt for an Earth mate and has her sights set on Jimmy, who's now a celebrity journalist after proving aliens exist. It's at this period of change and self-discovery that the other Superman arrive. Season 2 teased Hank as a handsome astronaut who doesn't like aliens and doesn't think that they belong on Earth. When last we saw him, Hank served as a fighter pilot in the finale's battle over Metropolis, and his aircraft was shot down. That's not going to improve his view of extraterrestrials. So we're definitely getting into it right now in regards to how somebody feels about other people that are different in regards to being an alien. I'm sure there's probably going to be some pretty interesting contrast to reality in that a little bit too. Superboy is another confirmed character arrival. He's directly inspired by the leather jacket clad version of the 90s comics, but it's still a different spin. Superboy can't just push Clark's buttons, so Superboy's been adjusted to be more relevant to all of our characters, and then he's going to embody the tension between hope in the present and fear in the future. He was the writers and artists' favorite character for this season, and we're going to complicate him a bit over the course of it. Man, that's so cool. Look, while I haven't necessarily followed seasons 1 and 2 of my adventures with Superman, this is intriguing me. Steel will return, but will be more lightly involved because he's less of a foil to Superman if the show gets to a 4th season. So see, they haven't even necessarily confirmed. It says we've got plans for him. For now, season 3 will heavily feature 3 of the others of the alternate Superman from Reign. So it seems as though Steel is probably going to be the one that's least involved in here, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's okay. I mean, we just saw him heavily involved in something like Superman and Lois series on CW. So, you know, I guess you pick and choose. And then there's going to be Lex Luthor, who will be a huge part of the new story. He's someone who hates Superman because the hero is something that he cannot control. The future is coming always for all of us, no matter what, whether you face it with fear or hope or courage, and how it determines a lot about you. Lex is all fear all the time. He's the character who's most embodies that concept in the season, and he's driving it, the action thread anyway. He says, our take on Superman is very obviously inspired by Dragon Ball Z. Among other things, there's a lot of anime influence. Lantern is inspired by a very different part of the same Toonami block. It'll be really clear once we start dropping promos what part of the Toonami block. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Because they're talking a little bit about Jessica Cruz here. Oh, it says season 3 will also include a light cameo from Jessica Cruz, a character who headlines her own offshoot that's in development. Wine is actively working on the animated series as well, but says that they're still in pre-production and we're waiting on an official pickup. What? When was this interview done? Like, they're still in pre-production. So what, has animation not begun? Have they not done any voice work yet? We're about to ship our first episode to Korea for animation, so it's going to be a minute. What? Don't tell me that, dude. Dude, my adventures with Green Lantern seem so far away now. They haven't even animated the first episode yet. That's crazy to me, dude. When did they announce this? They announced this, what, like last year sometime? And they're still in pre-production? Holy crap. Yeah, it's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute before we see the Green Lantern series. It does say it will be clear once you start dropping promos for what the Toonami block inspired our Green Lantern show. We're not subtle people. Season 4 is also not technically renewed, though when James Gunn and Safran took the helm, he and them pitched their take on seasons 3 and 4 simultaneously. So we'll see, man. I really do think, look, I really do think, and this is probably going to sound bad when I say it, I think that these two projects in regards to my adventures with Superman season 4, along with my adventures with Green Lantern season 1, not on the chopping block, but both projects with the possibility of like getting held up, you know. This is why I hate mergers, in the sense of like, I just want studios to have the ability to breathe and produce the stuff that they want to produce in order to just start giving us content, you know, just give us content constantly. Because if season 4 is not even renewed, even though it's been pitched simultaneously, it feels like once this drops, maybe there is a season 4 renewal set. But it's like, what happens if the merger takes place? Are we going to get maybe season 4 or are they going to cancel production on season 4 because it's like we want to take Superman animation into a different route? And the fact that Green Lantern, which was seemingly felt like it was announced last year, is still in pre-production and is now just about to get animated. I mean, they're not even talking about having brought in the actors to do voice work or anything like that yet. Is that going to be like another year process before we actually get that also? So it feels like this stuff is really hindered and taking a long time to come to fruition after being announced. Um, I was, when James Gunn talks about the idea, like we're not going to green light anything until the scripts are all there and it works. I wonder if that means the same thing for animation too. Because it's like I felt like they like with the announcement of Adventures of My Adventures with Green Lantern, that felt very much like, okay, that's the green light, right? Like we've got all the scripts ready. Let's send that off to be produced and animated, sort of thing. But that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case right now. So from an animation standpoint, I am kind of worried if we'll even get a season 1 of Green Lanterns, or if I have a feeling we probably will get a season 4 of Superman. Just because, like he said, they were pitched simultaneously. So maybe upon the release of this, they'll see like maybe we can get production on season 4 at least started quickly enough. And if worst case scenario, if that's the last season, then that's the last season. But a lot of things going to hinder on the merger of Paramount and Warner Brothers for the future, to kind of see. But yeah, man, I'm a little bit more concerned now for Green Lantern than I certainly was before. But regardless, season 3 of My Adventures with Superman looks fire. And as somebody who hasn't had the opportunity to really watch seasons 1 and 2 like that, I might be invested. You might have just drugged me into this. So we'll see. So we're adapting Reigns of Superman for animation again. Yes. Yeah, I know. I'm sure people are over it. I'm sure some people are probably over it for sure. Just wait when My Adventures of Green Lantern finally release. Many people will say this is the Green Lantern deserves. Yeah, I'm sure you'll probably get a bunch of that. But we'll see. Look, man, by the time, I don't know, man. By the time that Green Lantern animated series releases, we might have a season 2 of Lanterns. We might have seen more of Aaron Pierre as Green Lantern in Man of Tomorrow by that time. That people will really come to maybe appreciate it a little bit more, right? Like people can say what they want about the Lantern series before they even necessarily see it. I still think it's going to surprise some people. There will be some people that, while I think that this is what's going to happen, Green Lantern is going to be a great effing show and really tackle some of the intergalactic kind of storylines and premises and characters that people have been wanting to see. But their voices have been so loud about hating something that regardless of how great Lanterns is, they're still going to stand 10 toes down and dig into their stance about how bad it is, even though it's a great fucking show. And then we're going to get Aaron Pierre that's going to be moved over into Man of Tomorrow. And then you're going to have James Gunn utilize him in the way that he did Guy Gardner, making Guy Gardner, be like, flashier and more Green Lantern aspects of things and very much more like cosmic oriented and comedic sort of thing. Like, I think Aaron Pierre and working with James Gunn is going to be really cool to kind of see how he fits into Man of Tomorrow. And then I think those that question things in regards to Lanterns will feel a lot better about Aaron Pierre as John Stewart once they see him in Man of Tomorrow and any other sort of like future projects. So, I mean, you may get people that say like this is the Green Lantern we deserve when they see the animated show, obviously, because it's animation. You could do a lot more things in animation than you can do in live action. So I do think you will naturally have those people, but I think by the time that animated series releases, if it ever does, I think we'll be at a time in the DCU where people will have fully accepted how the Green Lantern is certainly portrayed in the movies and in the television series by that point in time. But we'll see for sure. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. And with that out of the way, we will, speaking of James Gunn, we will continue to talk about it as James Gunn is in the news as he's given us some updates in regards to future DCU projects. And this is a blow for some people, man. Unfortunately, we've got the Authority back in the news here. And this has just been a head scratcher. You know, the Authority was one of the first projects that was announced by James Gunn on his list of Gods and Monsters Chapter 1. A really bold swing that I think people really appreciated, the idea of like involving Wildstorm characters from the comic books that were now part of the DC publishing side of things, and really trying to take a swing at it. And it seemed James Gunn was super passionate about this project. And while he has been somebody that's always said script first, characters first, we're not going to greenlight anything until we can crack the script, the Authority is just one that they have not been able to crack whatsoever. And it seems with that news, James Gunn is officially sort of put this on pause and on the back burner for the near future. Let's go ahead and dive into this. This comes to us from Variety.com. DC Authority movie put on the back burner. Script wasn't quite there and story didn't work in terms of the larger DCU. While he's currently in production of the Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, he did go to Threads to keep comic book fans updated on the DCU, which apparently will no longer include the Authority movie, at least not anytime soon. He says the script wasn't quite there, but more importantly, it didn't work in terms of the larger DCU, in terms of the story and practical concerns. Maybe someday, not soon. So this feels very much like, even though he's trying to soften the blow here, the not soon feels like this is not in the near future whatsoever. Like this, to me, this doesn't even feel like chapter 1 level stuff. This feels like maybe in 10 years we'll kind of revisit this after we wrap up whatever we're doing for our 10-year roadmap. But the Authority movie, at least not anytime soon. The script wasn't quite there yet. Okay, so we kind of just said that already. He did reveal this back in 2023. He says the Authority was a series first announced, and Safran said the project was being written now. Safran described the team members as Jack Nicholson and a few good men. They know what they want on the wall. They know that you want them on the wall, or at least they believe that. He says it isn't just a story of heroes and villains, and not every movie and TV is going to be about good guys versus bad guys. There are people that are very questionable, like the Authority, who basically believe that you can't fix the world in any easy manner, and they take things sort of into their own hands. In his response to fans, Gunn revealed that he never planned to write or direct the Authority movie himself. He has been adamant in various interviews that they will never go into production until the scripts are fully developed and ready to film. So he definitely didn't have plans on doing the movie himself. But Gunn also confirmed that Booster Gold and Paradise Lost, 2 other projects announced, remain in development and extreme development, respectively. When a fan asked Gunn why it was taking more than 3 years on these projects to get off the ground, the director reminded people that standard operating procedure for 95% of the scripts and shows that get made. So Booster Gold and Paradise Lost, I would assume Booster Gold in development, Paradise Lost in extreme development. So at least some good news on that front. It seems as though they're really pushing forward with the Wonder Woman stuff at this point in time, and Booster Gold certainly still being worked on with a promising future. But the Authority, man, look, I've never read a single Authority comic book in my life. I kind of picked and choose maybe some Wildstorm stuff back in the day, but not everything certainly hit for me, and I really missed out on the Authority. But I respected James Gunn's ability to want to use them. I thought it was a really great sort of wrinkle within the DCU that stood separate and unique and different from anything else that we had really seen in the DCU. And so I was a really big supporter of trying to see this come together. But it seems as though, especially with him not as the writer, not as the director, um, having to find somebody else that you can rely on to bring these characters into the fold has got to be really challenging. Like, I appreciate the fact that we at least got the engineer in Superman, and it seems as though the engineer is still going to be playing a part in Man of Tomorrow. But it seems as though, it feels a little bit lonely for the engineer in regards to her being the only pivotal person from the Authority that will ever really be in the DCU kind of moving forward. So a little bit of a missed opportunity here, but if you can't make it work, don't try and fit it in where it doesn't fit. Might clog up things, especially if you already have plans set for where the DCU is going to be, and the other building blocks that you've kind of put in place have done a really good job of pushing the story forward. You definitely don't want to take the story backwards in any regard. So it would have been unique to kind of see this team within the DCU world, but maybe there are other things that are currently in development that might take its place a little bit more seamlessly in regards to where they want to go with their DCU at this point in time. So really unfortunate. I know there was a lot of people really looking forward to this one, but it just doesn't seem as though we're going to be getting this at any particular point in time. So let's wipe the tears. Let's see what the future certainly holds for the Authority somewhere down the line. Who knows? Maybe they get an animated series somewhere else, or maybe they relaunch an Authority comic book series or something like that to kind of make up for it. Peg C, I only heard the Authority from watching the documentary Comic Book Superheroes Unmasked. Yeah, probably a lot of people probably didn't know about the Authority. I will say this. Where the DCU is at right now, I think that the Authority is something that you definitely would probably prefer further down the line, right? I mean, you already have people that are being like, where's my Batman? Where's my Wonder Woman? Like, there are notable characters that people really want to see more of. And something like the Authority, while unique and different, and I think will be a really good job of shaking things up, maybe they're like the Guardians of the Galaxy or the Thunderbolts, in the sense of, like, you introduce them later in phases after you've kind of established your particular world and your main characters, and maybe gotten one of your big first arcs sort of out of the way, or you're still like leading into it, right? Like, get your feet wet first, let people sort of trust you with the content that you're putting out there in regards to the DCU. Let people see, like, the Supergirl, Clayface, Man of Tomorrow. If all of those things really hit, and you start getting a fan base that really trusts the DCU once again in DC Studios, then you can maybe take those wild swings with something like the Authority a little bit further down the line. So let's keep our fingers crossed that something eventually happens. But in regards to like the next 5 years or 7 years, I think it's time to just let the Authority rest until maybe there's a potential for them in the future. But we'll definitely see what happens in that regard. Let me take a swig. We got 2 more topics left, I believe. Yeah, 2 more topics left, and then we'll get into your guys' live viewer questions. Again, if you want to submit a live viewer question over, feel free to do so. Go over to our YouTube page, click on the post tab, and there is a live viewer question for you guys. Man, did my Facebook just drop on me? Or is that my connection? I can't tell. Let me check my phone. Is Facebook working for you guys? I'm not seeing anything crazy on my end. Yeah, everything looks good on my end here. This is pulling up on my refresh this bad boy. No, it's not doing that either. Okay. Can I go to YouTube? Okay, YouTube seemingly is working for me. What I needed to get to my Facebook page because I was going to try and play this trailer, but instead they're going to make me have to go on YouTube to play this thing, and not necessarily want to have to go to YouTube, but it's okay. Maybe Facebook will come up, but let me know if Facebook is acting up for you guys or not, or maybe it's just my connection to the internet. Yeah, when I go on my Facebook app, everything looks good here. So maybe it's just being a little bit funky on my other side. But all right, guys, let's get into our next topic. As we're going to be getting to the horror side of things, as Zach Creger is back in the news here, as he is helming a brand new Resident Evil movie for us. I believe theater mode. Yeah, let me put that as theater mode. Let me make sure we got the good settings on here for y'all too before we begin this. Zach Creger is in the news here. We have our very first look this week at the brand new Resident Evil movie. The teaser trailer wind up dropping for us this week. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to check it out for yourselves or not, but I did want to go ahead and bring this up and watch this together. You know, we had released some of the set photos as it was kind of coming on together. We had heard some news that they had given this Resident Evil movie like full creative control to Zach Creger, fresh off of his Barbarian movie, along with Weapons, which got like a Best Supporting Actress nominee. Which is a rarity when it comes to horror films. But a lot of people were definitely talking about Weapons, and is now his next project here in Resident Evil is set to go ahead and drop this year. We did get the opportunity to see the teaser trailer that wind up dropping here this week. And let's go ahead and pull this up here for you. Again, he had full creative control over of this. They do talk about the idea that while it doesn't necessarily rely heavily on video game storylines, this movie is very much set in the same world as Resident Evil. So let's go ahead and dive into this. I may pause from time to time, but we'll see. It's only a minute and 53 seconds, but let's see how this goes. Wait, why can't I hear it now? Come on, dog. This thing was just working for me a second ago.
Hello?
Damn it. Now I can't hear it on my side. All my stuff is plugged in. Damn it, it's not going to let me play it. Give me a second here. Okay, there we go. I got it now. Let me bring you back. There we go. All right, I got it. Let's check this out.
Hello? I had a little bit of a problem on the road. I was wondering if I could use your phone. Hello?
First off, the isolation alone is creepy. Okay. I love the usage of sound in here, just the creaking of the door, the emptiness of like it being snowy outside, right? Usually after it snows, it's usually dead silent anyway. A lot of the animals are tucked away, sort of thing. You don't really hear a lot of insects and stuff or noises. So like just the lack of noise really works. And then just the way that the music comes in, like it really shocks you out of the emptiness of it all.
Sorry.
Really cool editing, I think, with the title sequences.
Look, I'm really sorry that we got disconnected earlier, but some things have happened.
Yeah, I love the moonlight in here. It looks like they used a lot of natural lighting. Like I'm sure there were probably some set pieces in here, but it does seem as though a little bit sort of on location also. Like just the moonlight kind of really works for me.
I'm in like a seriously fucked up situation right now. And it looks like there's a chance that we might not get to talk to each other again.
Bro, while I know that they talk a little bit about the idea of like this not I think there's some people have complaints that this doesn't necessarily feel like Resident Evil. I mean, isn't this character in Resident Evil, isn't he like the standard big fat like exploding the big fat exploding zombie type of guy? Or maybe I'm tripping, but the guy just looks super familiar in regards to maybe he's just a cliche zombie in like every zombie movie or every zombie video game. But this alone gives me like Resident Evil vibes. Whoa. Yeah.
I just wanted you to know. I love you.
Damn, bro. So September 18th. September 18th, this movie comes out. I love it, dude. I love it. I know some people complain, and rightfully so if they want to, about the idea that this just feels like a horror movie with the name Resident Evil attached to it. Completely fair, especially in regards to how like this trailer is kind of presented to us, right? Like this is just a teaser trailer. We really have no sort of storyline details or how this fits even into the grander scheme of a Resident Evil world as of yet, right? If I'm not mistaken, I do believe the gentleman that we see in here is like a courier. I think he's like transporting something, whether it be organs or whatever the case may be. He's clearly transporting something, and if it's Raccoon City or whatever the case may be. I also hear he's like a courier with like a drug problem, or like an addict or something like that. So it might be interesting to kind of see how somebody who maybe at some point in time is going through withdrawals also has to navigate through this effed up situation that he kind of finds himself in. And I think me and Stuart kind of talked about it too, like the promise of what could be, in the sense of focusing on a character who seemingly is just thrusted into this situation that he has no idea has broken out into this particular city, and is maybe even running parallel to like what characters from the video game themselves might be also experiencing, right? Like I'm not expecting a heavy involvement of familiar characters whatsoever from Resident Evil to be in this movie. It would be cool if there are little cameos and little nuggets here and there, or references. It seems as though he's just a solo guy that is trying to survive in this effed up situation and make it out alive. I really do love the stakes that are in this movie, in the sense of like him calling a loved one, understanding the situation that he's in, and realizing he may not make it out of this alive, to where he has to call somebody and tell them that he loves them. You know, imagine you having to pick up the phone and being in a dire situation, thinking that you're not going to make it out alive. I think if Zach Creger can really tap into that horror element, of being in a situation like this, and make it as visceral as possible and as frightening as possible, I think he can easily do it again. He's done two great movies right now that I really trust the mindset of what Zach Creger is capable of doing, and I do think that he might be able to make something rather successful with this one also. So I'm not sleeping on anything that Zach Creger does. Some people may be offended in the sense of like, why are you using the Resident Evil movie name, Resident Evil name, if you're not going to make it like an exact adaptation or utilize more things from the Resident Evil video game to feel like a Resident Evil proper? But I do think that Zach Creger is creative enough to make us feel like we're in a Resident Evil game, even though we may not necessarily have familiar names for people. Like, if you can give me familiar settings and make me feel like I'm this gentleman trying to survive and coming across these things, I think that would be really fantastic. I think me and Stuart even teased the idea of like, what if we get to a section in here where he realizes that there are other survivors also in this city trying to escape? Like, what if we do get like a main character from a Resident Evil like off in the distance shooting zombies, and like you see him in the distance, and this character utilizes that distraction to kind of get from point A to point B, right? Something like that I think would be really cool, without necessarily introducing us to that Resident Evil character. So I do think there's a lot of promise here. The scene of the bodies falling on top of the cars and then having like their bodies explode, dude, like just a gnarly visual, dude. The look of horror on his face too, in the scene where you see like just the blurry image of somebody's head coming out of a hole or a, a pool of blood or whatever, like just the shock of horror on his face is enough to get me locked in. So, I think if you've got a really great main character and an actor that can emote and give you these dire situation emotions, I think you might be onto something. So I'm going to trust the process here for Zach Creger, and let a couple more trailers kind of speak for themselves. But after the run that this man has certainly been on, we'll see if he can certainly deliver. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in regards to the Resident Evil movie. And then last but not least, our last main topic, well, believe it or not, man, Django is in the news. That's right. Django, played by Jamie Foxx, is certainly set to make a return. We'll see if this movie actually gets off the ground, as it is in development. But it's maybe not the Django sequel that you certainly expected. It seems as though we're going to be having a Django crossover event possibly happening here, as we're going to be combining Django and none other than Zorro. That's right. That's right. You heard me correctly. So much so that Sony has actually tapped a writer for the Django and Zorro film, and it's actually inspired off of a Quentin Tarantino comic book. So this movie actually, believe it or not, does have the blessing of Quentin Tarantino. So we're getting ourselves a Django and Zorro crossover film so far. Let me bring up this article for you guys. I believe this is from Deadline, if I'm not mistaken. Let me bring this up here. There we go. Sony taps Brian Helgeland to script Django Zorro film from Quentin Tarantino and the Matt Wagner comic book. Sony Pictures is moving forward with the most intriguing movie mashup. The studio has set Academy Award winner Brian Hegland from Mystic River and LA Confidential. Ooh, what a killer combination of movies, dude. What a great writer. To write Django and Zorro for a big screen continuation of a story that was hatched in a 7-issue crossover comic book series co-written by Quentin Tarantino and Matt Wagner. So this story has already been developed by Quentin Tarantino himself, and now he's allowing an Academy Award writer and Brian to come on board and adapt this for the big screen. The comic was published back in 2014 and considered maybe the closest Tarantino might come to a sequel in the continuation of the adventures of the slave turned bounty hunter played by Jamie Foxx. Tarantino directed that film, but won't helm this one, though I understand that this film has his blessings to move forward at Sony, where he's expected to make his final film as director. So Quentin Tarantino will not be directing this movie. He still believes that he just wants to make one more movie, and it seems as though Quentin Tarantino is trying to pick wisely in regards to the final film that he directs. But in the meantime, I would assume, because of the fact that he's written this comic book, that he's more open to the idea of somebody else taking over. The project is in early development. He's scripting a new story that follows on from the comic series. In that comic, Django continued to track Despicable Prey as a bounty hunter and developed a kinship with Don Diego de la Vega, who was played by Anthony Hopkins in The Mask of Zorro, where Don Diego passed on the Zorro mantle to Alejandro Murrieta, who was played by Antonio Banderas. My understanding is that this new script will focus on a young Zorro. The comic collaboration between Tarantino created great hopes for a movie at the time. There was discussion, but momentum seemed snuffed by the pandemic. Now the rights are all cleared up to move forward with Helgeland, whose vehicles with strong leading men also include Man on Fire, 42, and Legend. Great movies, dude. Great movies. As Tarantino sorts his 10th and final film as director, he's got a lot going on. So he talks a little about some of the other things that he wants to do. But man, I got to tell you, dude, I really hope that this comes to fruition. This would just be one really gnarly sort of one really gnarly collaboration. You know, I have been wanting for a long time a new Zorro project to actually come to fruition and actually happen. But you tell me the idea of Django and Zorro teaming up. Like, first off, I got to have a moment in here where they fight each other. Like, I absolutely have to. And then come to find out that they have maybe a lot more in common than they certainly think, just from two completely like different perspectives. And I would love to see them bond over this, right? Like Quentin Tarantino is no slouch in regards to his writing. And I think bringing on Brian too is also no slouch. So this could be so uniquely incredible from just like a writing standpoint, and just visually to see these two characters on the big screen together would be something phenomenal to watch. So again, early development is clearly working on the script. We'll see if it ever gets greenlit and actually ever further pushed into production. I think it's promising in the sense that, one, I think people love Django. So if we can get a Jamie Foxx return to play Django, I'm definitely going to be all on board for it. And the fact that at some point in time, this project had momentum behind it before COVID kind of cut it down by the knees. This feels like if they can really land on a great script, I can easily see this movie going into production for sure. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. There is just something I think really cool about both of these characters, what they stand for, what they fight against, having each other's back and like trying to take down, whether that be one person or a corporation or like a conglomerate of people, that I think can really work from a standpoint, you know. And I think also in a weird way, like it'd be really cool just to kind of see like the Black and the Mexican Latino like community fighting alongside each other. You know what I'm saying? Like to really like recognize the idea that we're both very like oppressed people throughout our history. and seeing some of the similarities that I feel like, especially in today's society, we're so used to having the two of us, or both, all these cultures like pitted against each other in order to try and make it to the top, in the sense of like, they really have us fighting alongside, fighting against each other, in the sense of like only one person can have like equal rights at one point in time. um but not necessarily recognizing the idea that like, if we actually work together, we would be so much stronger. And I think that's what they're really fearful of when it comes to us. So I think this would be really great for society, in that sense of like showcasing the how much both communities have certainly been held down, the similarities in regards to how we've definitely been treated, and taken advantage of, and really being able to look past any differences and realize the more similarities that we have, and really come together as a community and as a society, and really work towards something. And if Django and Zorro have to be like the two mouthpieces or spokesman for that sort of change, to kind of come, I hope that that is an aspect of the story that really gets focused on and really delivers. And I think if it can, oh boy, watch out. Watch out. This might be a sleeper, baby. I didn't know I needed this crossover. This makes me want to go back and read the 2014 crossover that they wind up having, because I'm so much more fascinated in it now. But I think there's a lot of promise in this one, y'all. I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of promise in this one. Let me know what you think. I never really liked the Tarantino movie. You talking about Django, or you talking about just any movie of his in general? Quentin Tarantino said that he was, when he was young, a single mother mocked his writing ambition, so he vowed he would never financially benefit from his success after becoming hugely wealthy. He doesn't give her money or take her fancy, doesn't give her money or take her on fancy vacations. True story. Would you encourage a career for your child which you think doesn't lead to financial stability? Yes. Yes, I absolutely would. I absolutely would. Because I'm at a point in my time in my life where, yes, while I am making money to barely get by, I fucking hate my job. I don't fucking hate my job, but it's just like, I'm just a number, I'm just part of the system. And there's so many things that I always wanted to do that I told myself I would love to do, even if it wasn't financially stable for me. And I decided to throw all that away so that I could have a career in the life that allowed me to pay my bills on time and things like that. But not a day goes by that I wish I didn't become, not a day goes by that I wish, well, I don't know how to play this, but I wish I would have pursued archaeology. I wish I would have pursued. I said, "Oh, don't say you hate your job on YouTube." That's why I corrected myself. I don't hate my job, but it is a meticulous job. You know what I mean? It's just an everyday 9 to 6, clock in, clock out, make your money. I've been there 10 years. Like I feel like I've just gotten so comfortable in my job. Props to the job for, keeping me hard. I'm doing my best every day that I go in there, but it's just not what I dreamed of. I wish I stayed in school longer to pursue film and television and worked from the bottom and made my way up. But the realities of life was I needed a car. I had to quit my job. I had to quit school in order to get a full-time job so that I could pay off my car. And then that's all it was about, was I need to make more money so I can get an apartment, so I can, and I don't know if I would financially support my child all the time. You know what I mean? In regards to like, I know you're doing stuff that you love and you enjoy, but you're not making enough money. Let me help you out. I would hope that, if it's something that they pursued, that it wasn't immediate financially, that it would eventually lead to financial success for them. I'm sure starting out as an archaeology probably gets you really nowhere, right? Like, where do you even go as an archaeologist, right? But then I see some of these people on like these Netflix specials or National Geographic specials, and they just love what they do. And maybe they've got contracts with museums that pay them well to just travel and do this stuff, right? Like, there's so many other things that I wanted to do in my life that I stopped because I was so worried about the financial success, that now that I'm in my 40s and I look back and I'm just like, I just want to do what I enjoy, you know? And if my son wanted to pursue a career in something like that, have at it, dude. I want you to go to work every day loving what you do, because that love is going to inspire you to want to do bigger and better things in that field that will hopefully get you to that financial success that you absolutely want to. And maybe they come to a point in their time where they're just like, I love doing this, but it's not for me anymore. Like, then I'll let them make that choice. But I will always encourage my kid to do what he loves to do and is passionate about, because I wish I'd stuck with it too, you know. But great question, thank you so much for that. But yeah, Django, Zorro crossover movie, what do you guys think? I need to know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that will wrap up all of our main topics today. And I think you guys know what time it is.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're going to get into our live viewer questions portion of the show. Let me go ahead and try and pull up my hero report page for you guys. So if you ever want to submit a live viewer question over, certainly feel free to. Again, I usually drop these Saturday afternoons, Saturday evenings. I was definitely late, for sure. I was definitely late to the party. Appreciate Peg C and Ram Jam coming through for reminding me. But every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, just go over to our YouTube channel, check it out. Click on that post tab that you see right here, and voila, live viewer questions. We don't really have many because I literally just launched this like an hour, like literally 5 minutes before the show wind up starting. So let me sort this out and continue from there. So you can do both your job and your dream. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like if I can make a living off of YouTube, this would be my dream where I'm at right now in regards to being a critic of some sort from film or television. You know, if the algorithms were kinder to me on YouTube, I definitely would love to do something like this as of right now. Let's go ahead and tackle this. Peg C. 4 new teams will be debuting in season 2: X Factor, X Force, Ancient Egypt Team, and X Corps. What are your thoughts? I love it. I hope it's not too many moving pieces. I hope, considering the fact that they have so many teams here and so many more characters that they're kind of introducing us to instead of just the core team. I hope the pacing of this season works well. You know, I feel like I don't know if it's a complete creative overhaul for season 2 now that Bo DeMeo has been gone, but I'm just hoping that the introduction to all these characters don't get lost in regards to the focus of the story, and doesn't kind of pull us in so many different directions. I think a lot of teams can certainly get to that point of causing it, but yeah, I'm really hoping that that's not the case, but we'll see. So looking forward to it, but there's a little bit of trepidation. According to an article from Gizmodo that was published on April 28th, Pixar may have more Toy Stories beyond Toy Story 5. What are your thoughts on this? Hey, I'm all for it as long as it makes sense. You know, something like tech versus toys for Toy Story 5 makes sense for me. It'll be interesting to see where these characters end up. After Toy Story 5, we'll see what the success is like. Look, if this movie does bonkers at the box office and shows no sign of wearing down, then I fully understand why Pixar would do another Toy Story movie. I am just hoping and praying that if they have another great idea like Toys versus Tech, then yes, do it. But if it's just a mediocre movie, you know, please don't. But I do think that they have taken really good care of the Toy Story franchise and used delicate hands on it, that every Toy Story movie that we've gotten, I think, has been really great, you know? So As long as they can keep their focus on the quality of it, I really don't care about how many come out, as long as each one certainly delivers in its own right. Have you ever played the fighting game Tekken? Oh yeah, old school, man. And would you like to see a Tekken get a modern live action adaptation again? I know they tried back in 2009. It didn't do so well. What are your thoughts? You know, there might be an opening. There might be an opening. If Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat really do well, then I think there's an opening for Tekken to weasel its way in there. You know, I think if you're a video game aficionado and you had moments of arcades, you know, back in the day, Tekken was a big one. It was no slouch. So I do think there would be an audience for it. Maybe not as recognizable of things like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but Tekken was big back in the day for sure. So I think there's an opportunity here, but I think Hollywood has to take note of the success of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighters, if Street Fighter is even successful in its own right. But if we can have two back-to-back video game fighting movies that do well, then I think Tekken has an opportunity, and I think it opens up doors for others as well. Marcelino, I joke about this sometimes, but in a way it's kind of true. I sometimes will say that Supergirl was the original Andor because there's a lot some of the same themes that Andor told. The difference is that Supergirl's on CW. It's easier to make fun, and practically no one views the Supergirl writers as competent writers. They seem as incompetent writers writing incompetent stories. But because Andor has Tony Gilroy's a bigger budget and Hollywood actors, people tend to give more respect towards Andor, and Andor absolutely deserves respect. But the thing, when Supergirl came out, many people called it woke or SJW cringe, but Andor never received that same because many would prefer Hollywood writers, budget, and actors, and nowadays will always make fun of a show that's on CW or just syndicated television. I keep trying to recommend Supergirl to Kiki and Luca, and they haven't told me yes or no. But what are your thoughts? I mean, you know, some people just have their own taste in things that they are open to watching or don't necessarily really have interest in, you know. So it's fair for not everybody to want to watch everything that's certainly recommended to them. But, you know, look, trust me, there was definitely a segment of people that had an issue when it comes to Andor. You know, I definitely recall some people having an issue with Andor, especially when it comes to the grape scene. You know, the attempted grape scene very early on in the in Andor season 1, saying, "Oh, that type of stuff doesn't belong in Star Wars. It's too woke. Look what we've done with it." Some people got really uncomfortable in regards to the similarities of, you know, what happened on damn, I can't remember the planet's name now. I keep wanting to say Gamora, but that's not how that's not how you pronounce it. Or even seeing people like uplifted to have their, you know, arrested for not doing anything or not having the proper papers and things like that. I definitely know a segment of the Star Wars community that felt some way about what Andor, the messages that Andor was trying to showcase to us. Maybe not as big of a level of Supergirl. Maybe Supergirl was just a little bit ahead of its time in that regards, but also because of the fact that it's CW and it is easy to make fun of. So I think that Supergirl and CW stuff was always bigger to be attacked, whereas Andor, I think, had such an overwhelming impact because especially during the time period in which Andor was released, that people kind of appreciated the message that it was kind of telling, and maybe those that felt some type of way about it in regards to SJW or woke crowd didn't necessarily their voices were overshadowed by the positivity that I think and the recognition that Andor came out that came out of the Andor show itself. So I think the positivity certainly outweighed it and kind of nullified a lot of those voices. But trust me when I say, I mean, people definitely did have their issues with Andor and kind of pushed back against it. But I think it was overwhelmingly positive for the most part. But yeah, I think CW content in general is just like easy fodder, you know, for people to just make fun of because of what it is. Not always competent writers, but definitely ahead of the curve at times. A few weeks ago, I brought up the fact that many people want Captain Carter to return just so she can brutally be killed by Doctor Doom because they hate her that much. And you thought it was going too far. But why do you think that's going too far? Fandoms ask for badly written characters to be killed off all the time. Back in season 4, nearly every Arrow fan was asking Felicity to be killed off because she was that badly written. Plus, people cheered when Taskmaster was killed in Thunderbolts because they were asking for it, and it came off as Marvel apologizing for creating that character. Plus, you never had a problem with Indy always saying that he wanted Iris to die. I mean, to be fair, anytime he would say he wants Iris to die, I was never up there saying, yeah, let's kill her. I always felt even that was like cringy to me. I'd be like, damn, bro, like... really? Like, you know, anytime he said it, maybe I wasn't as vocal as I was about it, but it's it's always crazy to me when people want somebody a character to die. To be fair, I definitely do recognize the Felicity thing for sure. I don't know. I think here's the thing. I understand it. Vocalizing it is different to me. Because there is a part of me that I would even agree after seasons 3 and 4. I'm like, let's get her out of this show, dude. Like, I don't know how you write her out of this show, but like I was that annoyed with Felicity to where, like, if people said, can we just kill Felicity off? I don't necessarily know if I was gonna complain about it, dog. I don't know if I was ever gonna complain about it. Because there's a part of me that's kind of in agreement with it. But the idea of vocalizing it, I just don't know why. It's just cringy to me, dude. Like, I just never wanna. I know that they're fictional characters, but I just never wanna like wish death upon anybody. Like, there's just so many ways you can be written off a show or a movie. Like, the idea of like killing someone just feels like a really cringy passion that people want to really do in their real personal life, that they you know, it's like a taboo thing that they really want to try. But you know, but they put that onto fictional characters so that it, you know, it's easily more acceptable. Like, I don't know, it just feels weird to me, Marcelino. That's all I'm saying. Like, it just really feels weird to me. So you are right. Like, maybe there are moments right, like acknowledgement their mistakes and do better. Yes, but why do you have to kill them? Right? Like, why do you have to kill them? You know, Power Rangers were written off the show for going to a peace summit. You know, not to say that people hated those Power Ranger characters, so they wanted them to die. I'm just saying, kill them off. I'm just saying there's just other ways that you can do it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I get the idea of hating the character, but like, damn, like killing somebody is just such a personal thing, you know? That's like, why we gotta kill Captain Carter? Can't she just get like sucked up into like some alternate dimension? We just never see her again. But like, I just feel like some people are living their fantasies through the idea of wanting to stab a woman to death or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to fulfill their fantasy and live through a character and experience somebody that they hate that much, sort of thing. Like, I just can't. It's just weird to me, dude. It's just weird to me. But to each their own. To each their own. It's just the vocalizing and putting it out there in the world. It's just different to me. But I, you know, like I said, there are elements though I would agree, like, I don't want this character to be around anymore. I just don't know if I'm going to go so far as to say, let's kill them off. Let's kill them off. But yeah. How do you feel about people make fun of the now infamous Avengers Endgame moment where all the women characters team up a moment, instead say the boys moment where the girls team up to beat? Hold on, wait. How do you feel that people now make fun of the infamous Avengers Endgame moment where all the women characters team up and instead say that the boys moment where the girls team up to beat Stormfront is the authentic and real girl power movement? The reason is that Endgame, there's no reason for all females to team up with Battle that has every Marvel character from the past 10 years, and not all of them have ever had one-on-one interactions, and that there is zero character work done. Meanwhile, in The Boys, all the characters, female characters team up against Stormfront makes sense because they all have powers, while guys are just normal people. So they all work on power scale, and all the characters culminate together. Starlight finally stops being a pushover. Kimiko gets revenge for her brother, and Queen Maeve has her hope reignited, and her finally does something selfless and actually starts helping the boys and Starlight. I mean, to be fair, people are not just now making fun of that Avengers Endgame moment. People have been making fun of that moment since the movie released. Okay, so it's not like this is a brand new thing. Maybe the boys in some people's mindset certainly work better, and that's fair. I don't have a problem with it for Avengers Endgame for two reasons. One, there are time and places for fan-pleasing moments. And Avengers Endgame felt like the proper time to do it. And secondly, because you don't know when you're going to have all these characters together literally ever again. You know, I do recall people asking for a moment like that, even leading into Avengers Endgame. You know, I do remember seeing some people vocal for the idea of like, man, I would love to see an A-Force team, or, you know, a women's team together. Maybe not as super vocal or a loud majority or anything like that, but I have seen that stuff kind of cross my feed before we even got into something like Avengers Endgame. So, in a big culmination battle, did it feel kind of misplaced and disjointed in the sense of like, oh, all the women just got together and we have a girl? Yes, I will completely agree with you. It does certainly feel that way. But considering the moment that was Avengers Endgame, the culmination of an entire story in here, I do think that there are certainly things that you can get away with based off of what the moment calls for, that it's okay to give people pleasing moments. And I think Avengers Endgame gave that moment for fans that wanted it, regardless of how other people might have felt about it. I appreciated the execution. Like visually, it was really cool for me to personally see. Does it feel disjointed? Absolutely. But I really have no problem with it because of the circumstances. One, again, in this case, I don't want to say Easter egg, but you want to give fans as many really cool moments as you possibly can. So I think that's one of the reasons why they did it. And also, you have such a huge, incredible amount of talent that you just never know if you're ever going to get on screen ever again. So why not? Just pull the trigger on it, man. You know, it didn't hurt anybody. Avengers Endgame was still a fantastic movie and fantastic culmination and stuff. So, you know, maybe it's done better in other things. I'll definitely give them that. But that moment's always been made fun of, not just as of today. But I still stand by it. I still like it. I still like it. It still works for me. But I get it. I definitely get it. Why was the dubbing on Speed Racer anime series so bad? And do you think some DC... Jessica Friedman with the question. Why was the dubbing on Speed Racer anime series so bad? And do you think we see some DC cement in the new season? See some DC. I don't know what that means in the new season of. I don't know what that last part means, Jessica. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's a typo. Do you think we see some DC cement in the? Yeah, I don't know what that one. You might have to clarify that one maybe in next week's question, Jessica. I'm not quite sure what you mean by DC cement, but I have a feeling that might have been a typo. What was the dubbing of the? I mean, maybe just because it was just an old series, you know. Maybe dubbing definitely wasn't on par with, definitely not on par with certainly where it's at. You know, I mean, you know, Speed Racer was definitely a Japanese animated series too. So anytime you're going to be doing dubbing of anything, I mean, I don't necessarily know if dubbing ever holds up. Like I still watch foreign films today, more current foreign films today. And I prefer watching subtitles in English because the dubbing for me sometimes just doesn't hold up for me. It's a lot better. Trust me, it is a lot better. I've even saw a movie called Watch the Skies or something like Watching the Skies. It was a foreign film, but when you watched it, you would have never have known, because what they did was they used AI technology and they utilized the characters that spoke the foreign language. Luckily for them, the characters in the film that were speaking the foreign language also spoke English, right? So they were able to have them read the script in English and like use AI to digitally enhance over the mouths. So when you watch the film in English, it's literally the actors performing in English, but the dubbing is so seamless because AI has generated like their mouth movements to match their English speaking voices. Like they still have their accent from whatever country that they're from, but it's seamless. So it's English dubbed utilizing AI to have the mouths move to fit the dubbing better. I don't know if I've ever seen another foreign film do that before. Maybe Netflix is utilizing that type of technology, but it was incredible. And it really made me enjoy the movie a lot more because there are a lot of foreign films that I watch that have English dubbing that it's just I don't want to say it takes me out of the movie, but it's just like, ugh, yikes, you know? So if I have my way, I'm watching a foreign film in its foreign language with English subtitles. And that definitely doesn't work for everybody, but I definitely enjoy it that way. But if we're talking about Speed Racer anime series from like, how long ago was that? Like the 60s, 50s? Yeah, the dubbing is definitely nowhere near what it certainly is today. It's just time and technology at the time, unfortunately, Jessica. But appreciate the questions. Appreciate the questions. Peg C even says, look, I watch Super Sentai sometimes with subtitles, depending on if I'm following the storyline. And then I watch Super Sentai Raw. Collection is a mixture of Raw and subtitles. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Marcelina says, many people say that fan-pleasing moments are still superficial and it's more authentic as it actually works for the story. I agree with you. I mean, I definitely agree with you. I just think there's a time and a place for fan-pleasing moments. And I think Avengers Endgame was appropriate to pull that off. It may still come across as superficial. I'm not saying that doesn't make it less superficial. I'm just saying I think based off of the time, the circumstances, pull the trigger, man. Pull the trigger because you don't know if you're going to have that type of moment at all. Could they maybe have executed it a little bit better? Maybe, you know. But superficial, yes. But it works for me based off of the circumstances when I'm watching the movie and really what Endgame sort of represents as a whole, you know. I think it's a big thank you to the fans also, and a recognition of all the incredible talent. And I think the end credit sequences where you have the main leads, you know, their signatures and stuff also, I think is a big thank you to the fans and the recognition of everybody's work in making this type of stuff kind of come together. So superficial, absolutely. Warranted, absolutely still though. But yeah, thank you everybody for all your live viewer questions. And yeah, resubmit that last portion of the question over next week, Jessica. So I understand what you meant about the new season of My Adventures of Superman, because I definitely wanted to explore that a little bit more. But yeah, guys, the original Speed Racer anime is 59 years old. The first airing on Fuji Television was 1967. So yeah, we definitely can't expect the dubbing to be that great during that particular time period. You know what I mean? But still great, I'm sure. And if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the Speed Racer live action movie by the Wachowskis, please do so. We had an opportunity to see it in IMAX about 2 weeks ago or so. We even talked about it on our Let's Talk Movies podcast last week. So definitely check it out. But yeah, guys, that will do it for our episode of A+ Hero Report. Thank you, everybody who certainly participated here today, joining us for the live viewer questions in the live chat with us. You guys definitely made this episode a great one for sure. But we always appreciate you guys. You know, next week is Mother's Day. I probably will not be live next week. Maybe we have either a late Sunday show, or maybe we pull the trigger on a Monday show for you guys, just to kind of keep you guys up to date. But because it is Mother's Day next week, I may not be here, as I'm going to be celebrating with my girlfriend, maybe try and do something special for her. So we definitely will not be live next Sunday afternoon. But again, maybe keep a lookout for a special edition either Sunday night or maybe Monday for you guys. Okay. Stuart is not here this week for Let's Talk Movies. He probably won't be here for another like 2-3 weeks sort of thing. So if anything, though, while there may not be a Let's Talk Movies episode for tomorrow, I still need to get back on my movie going experiences. I'm definitely going to try and knock out 2 or 3 movies this week for you guys. And I may be doing Let's Talk Movies solo next week for you guys. Okay. So just look out for that. And I'm still going to look out for that I Swear movie, and then any other, maybe some of your guys' suggestions. If I still want to see Devil Wears Prada 2, and there might be another movie releasing this week that I might try and catch also, so that I can be back next week for our movie segment in the beginning of the week. But other than that, guys, we've got what else is on the docket this week? Our final 2 episodes of Mall Shadow Lord, The Force Report, live Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central Time. Certainly join us there for our last couple episodes of the Mall Shadow Lord Season 1. We're going to be talking about that. And then if we have any other big trailers or news worth discussing throughout the week, we'll probably have a solo episode drop for you guys, a solo video. So certainly always stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Click the like button for these videos and the bell notification as well, so that anytime we drop a brand new video, you'll definitely be notified of it. If you want to follow us on social media, A+ Opinions, you can find us over there at, I believe, Facebook. That's where we keep you guys up to date on a daily basis with information, new news articles, big breaking news, posters, trailers that drop. Our Facebook page is updated on the daily for you guys. If you want to follow us on TikTok, at Hero Report, we're on TikTok, as well as over on Twitter at A+ Hero Report. So follow us there as well, guys. But other than that, that will do it for us here. We'll certainly see you guys next week. But until then, do us a big favor, as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.